Back here live at the Waterfront Village with my friend, the zombie, Jonathan. You're looking good. Jonathan just got an awesome face paint job. What do you think?
I make turtles.
It's now time for Big D Energy with four-time Stanley Cup champ Darren McCarty and the golden voice of Neal Rule. Live on the Woodward Sports Network, 99.1 and 93.5 The Roar, the Woodward Sports app, and anywhere you listen to podcasts. Let's talk some sports. It's Big D Energy.
Yo, 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 yo. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Big D Energy here on the Woodward Sports Network. My name is Neal Rule. D-Mac out and about today. So we went to the bullpen. We got our guy Stick here in the house. The big, tall, crafty righty is here in the building. You know we got Sam Flannel. He was out of control last night at the Woodward Sports Draft Party. Sleeveless flannel, flexing for everybody. It was absolutely out of control. You know we got Spencer Raxter here in the house. He is physically recovered, however, not emotionally recovered. A big letdown for him, which we will explain coming up a little bit later on in the show. Live in studio because, you know, obviously, with the first round of the draft being over, we like to pride ourselves in being first to the story here at Woodward Sports.
Forward thinkers. So
what we're doing right now, everybody, welcome to the 2023 mock draft. That's right. We're doing it here. So absolutely, you know we're going to bring Russell Brown in here today. 2023 mock draft. Russell, here's how we have it.
Where is Stroud going? That's what I need to know.
CJ Stroud, what's it going to take? What's going on, man?
Oh my God, I thought about actually doing that, but no. Let's talk about last night, and let's talk about the rest of this weekend and how it's going to look for the Detroit Lions. I mean, yesterday we talked about this a little bit before the show. Neal, you are always big on draft equity and draft capital.
Yes.
Yesterday, even though the Lions only got the number 32 pick with what they traded away for Matthew Stafford, they were able to utilize that, package it, and move up and get the number 12 pick, which to me was the most exciting move of the draft.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the Jets were doing big things too, but locally, it was going to take a lot to steal the spotlight of the Aidan Hutchinson love fest that was going on. And people were on their way. And look, it was cool. And look, I've been labeled a Hutchinson hater and a Michigan hater and all that kind of stuff. But the bottom line was, I was fine with it. I was more in the Thibodeau camp. A lot of other people were too. But, you know, it's fine. It's safe. It's cool.
That's how I felt. Like, when the second overall pick happened, like, I think everybody celebrated, but it wasn't like the celebration last year we had when Penei Sewell was drafted. Like, everybody, you know, because half the people last night at the Brass Rail were chanting, K-Von, K-Von, K-Von. And then Hutchinson comes through, and nobody's mad at it, but that just kind of was like the theme to this year's draft, is it wasn't just overly exciting. It was like, yeah, all right, we got Aidan Hutchinson. That's a nice player. He's going to fit in well. He's a Dan Campbell guy. Hopefully he improves that defensive line. And then it was just kind of ho-hum after that. But then the Lions took it upon themselves. Brad Holmes doing what Brad Holmes does, just being a magician with the weapons that he has. And he was able to package those and get up to number 12 and take Jameson Williams, which is... You either love him or hate him. That's the response I'm getting from people. There is no with Jameson Williams. There's no. Everybody has an opinion on this guy.
No, and that is the case. And as we said, we have one of our resident draft experts, Russell Brown, here in the building as well. And I think that's where it is. Initially, I had this all lined up. We were going to sit down. We were going to talk Aidan Hutchinson and how things move forward. But then the Lions kind of dropped this bomb out of nowhere. And Russell, this is your lane, obviously. You know, you had one of the top 10% mock drafts in the country, as you always do, because this is, you know, what you do for a living. So, you know, kudos to you. But you and I did a segment of the draft show together yesterday. And just as you recreate all of this, Russell, when you look at what the Lions did moving up for Jameson Williams, the draft chart, the value chart, that archaic, I kind of treat it like batting average. Yeah. I think we moved on from here. But according to the old heads, the Lions dominated as far as return on the investment. Now that you've had time to digest it, where do you sit right now on this move?
I'll be honest, I'm excited about it. I thought like when the deal happened, obviously we were on the live stream. I'm like, okay, it's going to be Malik. That's the move. And they didn't give up hardly anything to get that quarterback. Like, that's pretty impressive, finessing by Brad Holmes. But then it's Jameson Williams, and it's like even better. I mean, because you're going to get a guy that I think what you see with him is what you're going to get. Malik Willis still rough around the edges. He's going to need a lot of polishing. Jameson Williams, he just has to get healthy. And once he's healthy, it's good to go. And he's going to be in this offense that has a DJ Chark who, if he's healthy, he might get an extension here. But even if he's not, he's your nice one-year kind of placeholder, your bridge receiver in a sense. We always talk about bridge quarterbacks. He's your bridge receiver for Jameson Williams. And then you then have Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then next year, who knows? Maybe they add somebody today at 46. Do they double down at receiver like a Sky Moore, a Christian Watson? Be a little crazy. I wouldn't want them to do that, but I'm okay with the move. And it's spicy, it's sexy, and that's what this team needs. They needed a little juice on offense, and they got that juice.
And look, the measurables and everything, and again, I'll defer to you on this. However, with that being said, the GPS on them during some of the games, and I was listening to some national folks when I was driving in this morning, and they were talking about the fact that when Alabama played Miami, and they had the GPS on Jameson Williams, he topped out at 23 miles per hour on the field. Mm-hmm. And the Alabama people, now this is Alabama we're talking about. We had never seen that before. That number we had never seen. Just to give you an idea. And look, we saw the speed in the SEC championship game when he ran away from a defense that had 5 first-round picks. Like, we saw the speed. But for me, and I've gone back and forth, and I'm still going back and forth on it, just from the medical standpoint of it all, because I saw it in slow motion.
Yeah.
I saw that knee buckle. You know what I'm saying? And look, the ACL stuff is different now than it was 5 years ago, much different than it was 10 years ago. I gather that's my only hang-up. And I'll admit, I'm married to draft capital,
you are,
as you say.
More than married. You are.
Oh, yeah. It's a fatal attraction almost.
It is.
You know,
it's bloodlust.
It's bloodlust. It's all of it. It is. It's all of it. So, I mean, for me, with where this team is right now, I'll just run counter, and I'll throw it at you, and then you tell me how to act. For me, a guy who loves draft capital and rookie contracts and stuff like that, they did give up a rookie contract for it. They did. In, I think, a spot in the draft that even the draft experts have to admit there are players everywhere still, right? That's fair to say? It's fair. Very deep, right?
Yep,
is that fair?
Yep,
so your thoughts on that when I express my concerns?
Well, yeah, I mean, they gave up a rookie contract, but initially, like, they had to pretty much waive 2 guys going into last night. I mean, they got rid of, like, Hunter Bryant and stuff like that. Like, they had to move a couple of guys and get rid of them so they could start making roster space for some of the rookies that they're going to bring in. Because, ultimately, yeah, they can get up to 90 guys before preseason and before camp and all that stuff. But then they shave it down to 53, as we know. But they were making that space already. And really, the only contract that they're giving up is pick 66, which, let's be honest, that's not a sure thing. And the difference between, getting a talent at 46 compared to 66 could be huge. And granted, a team like the Patriots reaching for a Cole Strange at pick 29 certainly helps the board fall in their favor at 46. And, yeah, you give up 34 to drop 12 spots in the second round, but I think you can live with that when you're going up and you're getting a playmaker that, when healthy, is very clearly the best receiver on the field.
And that's where I was going to go with this. Like, you're looking at somebody. We stole the best defensive lineman in the draft, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, we didn't steal him. That was kind of gifted to us, per se.
Thanks, Jacksonville.
Yeah, thank you, Jacksonville.
We talked about that during the show.
Yeah, thank you,
the whole Jacksonville experience.
Oh, as soon as that happened, we're all like, now we can't lose. Like, we got the 2 guys that we want to pick from.
And real quick, I'll circle back to you. I still can't get past the fact that their quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, got sacked roughly 2,000 times last year.
Don't need a tackle, though.
Yeah, give or take a couple. And the easy button's right there for him.
It's right there. And the odd thing is 2-3 weeks ago, Scott and I were hearing rumblings that Evan Neal was the top guy on their board. But that was pretty much before Cam Robinson got his franchise tag signed, and then obviously he got the 3-year contract.
I mean, yeah, all the guys that, were there for the 2,000 sacks. That's what it is. But anyway.
But Jacksonville's going to Jacksonville.
Right.
We know this
you need that.
now, right?
You do.
And that used to be us. We used to be Jacksonville, for real. Like, people, I'm sure, had that same kind of Lions are going to lion. And last night, Jacksonville, and we were able to do what we haven't been able to do. Get the top-end defensive lineman and the top wide receiver in the draft. Because let's be honest, if he wasn't injured this year, he's number one by far and away. Not only number one, he's potentially a top 5 pick. And we were able to get him, yes, ACL injuries, but if you were watching Braylon Edwards last week, he was breaking down wide receivers, and he was talking about how quickly these guys can come back from ACLs now. And did you know that they take, body parts out of cadavers and put them in these players?
Yeah.
I did not know that. It blew my mind when Braylon Edwards was like, when I tore my ACL, they said we could take this dead guys and put it in you, or, we could take something else from your body and put it in. He was like, no, I want my body. I was like, yeah, who the hell wants some dead guy's ACL?
That's messed. I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Absolutely bizarre, man.
What a time to be alive, my friend.
But that's why these guys are coming back so quick. Just pull it out of a dead guy, throw him in there, get him back out on the field.
Get him back out there on the field.
Be somebody.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And here's on the other side, and I've told you guys I've gone back and forth on this. The other side, and Russell Brown here in studio is a national scout for Cover One, our draft analyst here on Woodward Sports too, as well. And, Russ was out there last night with us. He was cooking. Scott Bischoff was cooking. We had all the insider info going. And by the way, real quick, all of you that watched the show last night, live from the brass rail, the thousands of
tens of
thousands of you. It was unbelievable. You guys, the support, the crowd that was out there, you guys watching, your interaction. Appreciate y'all, for real.
Yeah, we
really
packed
do.
that house. There was no place to sit in the entire
Right.
brass rail.
Well, how about that electricity, too? When the Lions logo popped on the screen at number 12, and people noticed it kind of one by one.
Right.
One by one.
See, we were live, and we knew it happened. Corey texted me before, so, we knew about 2-3 minutes before, while the Saints were on, that we were up next, and we were, just kind of throwing around ideas who we're going to take, and obviously we were all Malik Willis. They did this for Malik Willis, and then they went with the wide receiver, which shocked everybody. And you can go back and watch that actual moment where Scott Bischoff finds out too, and then just leans over. He's like, "Yeah, no, it's not Malik Willis."
Yeah.
And we're just like, "What?" So, yeah, very exciting night last night.
It was a bolt of lightning that went through this place. And our YouTube chat thread, you guys can get involved, too, and you guys are coming fast and furious with the comments on there. And, we were talking about the cadaver ACLs and things like that. And Southpaw's Lab says, it's true, my ex-girlfriend's soul was from a dead person. So so there you have that. That's gone on for a very long
she had
time.
A soul?
Yeah. And everybody here is jumping in. Titus Hunter, Willis at 2, Lions to the Super Bowl. And look, nobody was more affected. And as I said, people tried to come at me for a couple minutes, which was fine. I said I was on board if they went completely AWOL. I was on board with it. Mm-hmm. No, nobody. It took a no bigger toll on anyone than our guy Spencer Raxter. When that Lions logo popped up at number 12, Spencer, can you recreate it for us? The excitement that shot through, because this guy is the president of the Malik Willis at any cost to the Lions.
Yes.
The excitement and the hopium that was ripping through your veins to just soul-crushing defeat when you heard Jameson Williams' name.
I was so excited. I thought it was happening. I thought it was the time. We had him in the palm of our hands. I mean, hey, he's still there, 46. Malik Willis, 46. If he's there, snatch him up. But I'm just so sick of Jared Goff, and I wanted that electricity. I wanted that 70-yard cannon. We had it. I thought we did it. And, Jameson Williams is a good player. Don't get me wrong, but you need somebody to give him the ball, and Jared Goff can't get him the ball down the field.
Which we're going to get into. Yes. We're going to get into what all this looks like because everything changed. Mm-hmm. Everything to me, and I'm curious to get Stick's take. I'm curious to get Russell's take as well. This was another concern of mine. And I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do the break first, and then we'll come back, and I'll give you the other concern of mine. And Stick, I want you to weigh in on it. I want Russell to give us the X's and O's and kind of where the roster shakes out at it. But I know that Spencer, after they didn't take Malik Willis when they traded up, nobody in the world needed a guardian more than Spencer Raxter.
And Spencer is a guardian in himself. I'll tell you that
Absolutely.
much. Like, if you want to feel secure, hang out with Spencer. You want your house secure, you go with Guardian Alarm. That's how you do
Pretty
it.
easy.
It's that easy. They're the local experts. They've been around for about 100 years, and they've stayed ahead of the technology. You know, they always say you're preparing for the people that are breaking into your house. Well, you know what? Guardian Alarm, 2 steps ahead of them. They have monitoring 24 hours a day. So if you want that safety, you want that security, make sure you call 1-800.
Stay out.
1-800-SAM.
Stay out.
Louder, Sam.
Stay out. Get out of my house.
Don't go in Sam's house. Not today. 1-800-STAY-OUT. Call him. Let him know Woodward Sports sent you.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
Cintron is the official energy drink of the Red Wings, proud partners of the Detroit Pistons, and exclusively served at Little Caesars Arena. If you're looking for premium ingredients, long-lasting energy, balanced hydration, essential vitamins, and great taste, Cintron is your top choice.
Off and running here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neal Rule, stick in for D-Mac. We got Russell Brown here as well. Follow him on Twitter, at Russ NFL Draft. You'd be wise to do so if you enjoy the draft. This guy, his mock draft in the top 10% of America. You know, the country, America.
The greatest country in all of the
Oh,
land.
yeah, love it or leave it.
In the history of the universe.
Couple billion people.
Think I'm playing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, get on board at Russ NFL Draft. These are the experts that we go to, him, Scott Bischoff. They're why we were on the stream last night telling you who was getting picked before they got picked.
Like 5 minutes before they got picked,
because they got the juice, as we like to say.
And what's funny about that is because I went back and watched some of the draft last night, because while we're on, we're not able to monitor the comments and stuff. And when we broke the Jameson Williams news, there were people like clowning us, being like, "This is irresponsible reporting by you. You don't know this 100%." And then, of course, 2 minutes later, boo, 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 Jameson Williams, they're like, "Hey," and then those people never comment again for some reason. But yeah, no, the reason why we were able to have that insight and that inside information is because of people like Russell Brown sitting there getting texts. Corey Woods was instrumental last night inside Allen Park, just constantly texting us what's going on, the movement, all that stuff. And then you have Scott Bischoff, agents texting him, teams texting him. Like, he's got the plug. And sometimes it does kind of suck the air out of it, because I want to be as excited when Roger Goodell.
Yeah, but that's not the job, though.
That is no
Stick.
longer my job.
That's not the job.
I'm not a fan like that anymore. We're on the other side of the fence. So, but it is awesome to sit there and he's like, yeah, this is happening, and then boom, it happens. So. Yeah, we were on point last night.
No, and it shows, too, because like we talked about, the engagement, the digital engagement, all the viewership, everything like that, you're not getting that anywhere else in the town. That's just a fact. Like, dudes like Russ, dude like Scott Bischoff, they're not there, they're here.
Yeah, you're just getting talking heads.
That's it, you know, that have been saying the same thing for a very long time. And it's cool, whatever. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We are here to talk about the NFL draft, everything that went down. Here's a question I have for Mr. Russell Brown. The Jameson Williams thing, I talked about, I can't get the image of the injury out of my head. And I know everything has changed. I understand. And I'm not saying I don't like it, because if I'm going to talk about I was prepared to deal with the Lions taking Malik Willis or somebody like that, then I need to be consistent with that. And my reasoning was the discount to market with Malik Willis. Well, as we saw A.J. Brown get traded and then promptly given $100 million for 4 years at $25 million per.
And then they signed Treylon Burks. Like, what a move.
Yeah.
What a move.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we look at the financial fallout, Tyreek Hill pushing $30 million a year, that was a discount to market play with Jameson Williams. That was. 12 is going to be what? 4.5, 5.5 million, right in that little frame, right there. Yep. That is a discount to market.
Oh, 100% it is. You're getting a guy that can take the top off of defense when healthy. He ran a 10.68 100-meter dash in high school. That is flying. I don't know how fast Tyreek Hill ran it, but it's got to be almost neck and neck. We saw what he can do after the catch. And I know we always talk about, and a lot of people said it in the chat last night, people were saying it on the live stream, Jared Goff can't get that ball deep down the field to him, but maybe that's not necessarily the play. Maybe it's underneath stuff, wide receiver screens, and just get him going down the field that way, after the catch type stuff. And I mean, if he's running vertical, imagine what Hutchinson and St. Brown are going to do underneath all of that. I mean, Chark's going to run vertically down the field. And as you mentioned, you get it on a cheap 4-year deal, essentially, with a 5th-year option at $4.5 million range. That's great.
Yeah, it's discount to market. Exactly. It's a huge discount to market.
Whatever you're planning on doing.
Yeah, no, so I'm here with that. But here's my question to both of you. And Stick, I'll start with you. This is the thing, the yin to the yang, I guess you could say. For me, my only knock on the Brad Holmes regime so far, and I got it, like it was explained to me when they restructured Goff and stretched him a year. It was, there was some cap reasoning for the current year behind that. I get that, and that's cool. They're not ready to win this year, I think, at a high level. My only knock / concern is there seems to be some kind of attachment to this regime and Jared Goff. And let's be real here. When Spencer Soul was crushed, and just stay with me for a second here, guys, that signaled to me that as Goff comes up on towards the tail end of his deal right now, I honestly think they're going to extend him. I honestly think that. Your thoughts, Dick?
I really can't have a complete thought on this till after today, right? Because if they go out in the round 2 and they draft a Ritter, they draft a Malik Willis, he happens to fall to 46, or they trade up a little bit, then that already addresses our issue, and we're like, oh, okay, this is a plan. Because we saw this last year with Brad Holmes when it
That's not how we operate around here, Stick. I want immediate reaction now.
Sorry, you're going to get measured response.
Boo this man.
But we saw that last year with Brad Holmes, too, waiting to get his wide receiver. Because remember, a lot of people were pressuring us to get a wide receiver in the 2nd round last year. Like, that's where we had to go day 2, and there's literal footage of him in the war room saying, hey, our guy's going to be there, it's okay. And they wait till the 4th round, and they pull out an Amon-Ra St. Brown. So nobody's mad at that now, even though people in the 2nd round wanted the wide receiver then. I don't know. If they do not take a quarterback in this draft, then yeah, I'm assuming they got to extend Goff, because next year is his last year, right?
No, not quite. He has... next year and then the year after. He's through 2024.
Okay, then not necessarily extend him, because you still can draft a quarterback next year and still let Goff play one more year and have that grace period. So I'm not necessarily fearing them getting Goff, but I do want to give Goff an actual chance. I mean, last year was an audition for everybody, right? Like, I feel the rebuild is starting this year. Last year was just kind of, let's see what the hell we have. Mm-hmm. This year's kind of, let's adjust
that was the whole
pieces.
reasoning for the DMAC clock, the 34-game clock, which we are 17 in. That was my baseline for everything.
Okay.
This is a 2-year flush, because this was a dual action assignment that they had here.
Right.
Number 1, the talent overhaul. Number 2, get the books right.
Right. Like this year,
both things are true.
It's like when you're remodeling. I'm remodeling my bathroom, right? Last year was the demo phase. We had to demolish it. We had to take it apart, find out what we have, find out where the mold is rotting, find out what we need here, and we were able to plug some pieces in. This year is I'm starting to put it together. Now you hope it all fits together, right? You hope that they put these puzzle pieces together in the right manner to where they can just slide in place and it's all going to work seamlessly.
Now, what about that, Russell? When you look at this standpoint, Goff signed through 2024. The dead cap money dwindles each year, becomes very manageable to get out of it. You actually get some cap relief if you do end up cutting him. But I get that feeling. Talk me off this ledge or say no, Neal. I think you're right. I do believe, and YT Sparty in our YouTube chat thread, Lions are in caps, all in on Goff. I am getting that feeling.
Well, I'm getting that same feeling. I'm kind of with Stick on this. Let's kind of see what happens today. Could they land a Desmond Ridder? I was looking at, the teams that are before us at 46. Seattle, they could very well be in on a Desmond Ridder or a Malik Willis. They pick 40 and 41. Few picks after that is Atlanta. I know Atlanta really likes like a Matt Corral. And could a team maybe move up or something in front of all of that to get their guy? Absolutely. It could be us.
Right.
But either way, I could see them being all in to give Jared Goff a fair chance, because that's why they took Jameson Williams. That's why they brought in DJ Chark. When they got Goff last year, they didn't have anything outside of Amon-Ra St. Brown. They struck gold there, but they don't have anything. So now they're starting to build around that. So it makes sense to why they could be all in on Jared Goff, but if it doesn't really pan out this year with Goff, I could see them letting him go and just hitting reset at quarterback because you're freeing up $31 million.
And we still don't know what Jared Goff we're getting, right? The end of the season, Jared Goff was much different than the beginning of the season, Jared Goff. Jared Goff with a healthy offensive line, much different than a Jared Goff which was running for his life because the dude is not mobile, right?
Yeah.
Jared Goff with Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson calling the plays, much different than when they had the original OC in there. So, like, I still believe in Jared Goff. I know when he got traded here, people were clowning me because I was like, dude, number 1 overall pick, took his team to the Super Bowl. Oh, who cares he went to a Super Bowl? I care he went to a Super Bowl. I've never been there. Never seen it with my team. So I care anybody who can get you there. Hell, like Rex Grossman got to a Super Bowl. Yes, we can have that argument too, but it doesn't matter. He got you to a Super Bowl. So we as Lions fans can't overlook that. And you know, Brad Holmes has an affinity for him because he was part of the process that drafted him number 1 overall. He's still young. Yeah. So just give him the pieces, and it seems like we're doing that. I'm most excited. Like, think about our offensive setup now, man. You have DJ Chark. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown. You have Jameson Williams. You have TJ Hawkinson. You have DeAndre Swift. You have Williams backing him up. You have Ragnow. You have Decker. You have Penei Sewell. You have Johnson. Like, it just keeps going on and on and on to where I'm excited about almost every single piece, all 11 guys on offense. When have you ever been able to say that?
Especially if they're healthy. I mean, if they stay healthy, there's no reason to believe that when Jameson Williams comes back at full health and full speed, that they couldn't win a couple of extra games because of that speed and scheming things up for him to work in that offense and in that system. Because, to be honest, we don't know what Ben Johnson's going to necessarily run and what he's going to draw up for Jameson Williams. But, you know, he was kind of that hot commodity when it comes to offensive coordinators as that next young guy that's going to make offenses fun. And he's got maybe the funnest weapon in the draft now at his disposal.
What about the fact, and you can kind of clue us into that, the talk around the campfire with Jameson Williams ahead of schedule as far as a rehab goes, there is talk that he could be a participant in training camp.
He said he would be.
Yeah, like a full-on. Out of his mouth. Yeah, I mean, he said it. Starting with him, he said that. But, I mean, he could be a full participant in training camp. It's just, I think that the medicals really put the Lions over the edge with this, where their medical evaluation said this is going to be fine. We believe that, you know, the speed will not be compromised and things like that. I mean, it has to be, right? For you to make this kind of investment, it has to be. And Chuck Brewer says, Neal, show me a move they passed up that was a no-brainer. There hasn't been one. Well, and Chuck, that's the thing to me. Like, I think they were in a position, it was all aces in the deck. If they didn't do anything, say they have Lewis Cine now, and now they have a shot at getting a Kobe Dean at, you know, I know, and we're going to ask him, don't let me forget to get to the Nakobe Dean thing, because he seems to be falling like a rock. But anyway, they were all no-brainer moves. Even if they didn't do anything, that would have been a no-brainer move, yeah?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, in a perfect world, it would be nice to get Lewis Cine at 32 and Nakobe Dean at 34 or something like that, because you instantly think, hey, this guy's going to come in and play. But when you talk about talent evaluation, Jameson Williams is up here, and those guys are kind of down here. Like, you just don't know. But it feels like Jameson Williams, especially if healthy, is like that sure thing. And I think back of, the injuries that we've seen with some skilled position guys over the last couple of years. Jalen Waddle was barely walking on the field in that national championship game for Alabama. He goes 6th overall to the Miami Dolphins, and he catches 90 passes last year with Tua as his quarterback. You see Cam Akers, he tears his Achilles. He comes back and he's running
for the playoffs.
And
running well.
Right. So it's very interesting to me of how they could go about this with Jameson Williams, him being ready for training camp, especially the preseason. I'm excited. Like, the more and more I think about it now, talking with you guys, like, I'm getting pretty amped up. And I'm actually excited to see what they do with 46 tonight, because there's an intriguing player that could very well be right in their lap from the University of Michigan, David Ojabo, who's coming back from a torn Achilles, and maybe pairing him up and reuniting him with Aidan Hutchinson would be kind of fun.
Is that too much Kool-Aid, like hometown Kool-Aid, though?
No, I think that's an overload.
We just slappies?
Yeah.
I'm not a Michigan guy. I'm wearing a state hoodie, but I mean, I would be pretty excited about it.
That's too much.
Yeah.
That's too much butter for everybody. That's not a recommendable amount of butter. Let me tell you about Big Boy. The signature buffet is back. Treat yourself this and every weekend, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at your local participating Big Boy. All the classics are there. 2 kinds of eggs, the bacon, the sausage, garlic mushrooms, the red skin potatoes, all of it. Waffles, hotcakes, French toast. Look, our own Spencer Raxter, after he pieces his life back together on a Friday night after the events of a usual Friday night, even he can saunter in at like 12:30 and get his life together over some Big Boy breakfast at the world-famous Big Boy Buffet. Weekends 8 to 2 at Big Boy. Big Boy is a Detroit institution, people. The buffet is back, everyone. Calm down, Spencer. Calm down.
I'm drooling a little bit.
At Wing Snob, staying humble's not our forte. We just have better wings. We're back at it again with our crispy golden brown fries and our famous boneless wings. Juicy, tender, hormone-free chicken. Your favorite signature sauces with no bone. Just when you thought Wing Snob couldn't get any better. Order online at wingsnob.com today. Wing Snob. We just have better wings.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play. And before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome. Off and running, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network, show sheets and stuff like that. That's cool. You know what it is. It's the NFL Draft, wall to wall, yet again. I'll give you your Tiger sentence. Hey, they lost yesterday.
Badly.
I'll give you another sentence. Now they're playing the Dodgers.
Badly.
Good evening, everybody. We'll talk to you on Tuesday as far as that goes. We got Sam Flannel. We got Spencer. Stick is in for DMAC. We got Russell Brown here, one of our resident NFL draft experts here, and we are chopping it up and taking everybody's thoughts. I mean, the viewership's exploding, the comments exploding. Can't even really keep up with it. Joey 2 times. You want a Malik at 2, STFU. I knew that people were going to do this, man. What do we say? Now Spencer wanted him at 2. Yeah. Spencer was team off. I just said, prepare yourself. And look, the Steelers took a quarterback at 20,
and it wasn't Malik Willis.
So they value Kenny Pickett. I said, if they liked them, be prepared that he could be in play. Now, ultimately, they did not, or did they? We'll see. But you brought up the fact that the players that are still out there, the Nakobe Deans, the Ajabos, Malik Willis is still out there, if that's your flavor. I mean, just the quality of player. How do you see, just kind of putting you on the spot off the wall a little bit, how do you see this shaken out as far as what happens here in round 2, at least to start?
Well, certainly, I mean, I think we could see a Nakobe Dean fall to 46 potentially. The teams that obviously scare me are the Jets and the Giants. They're sitting there. I think the Giants would be wise to take a linebacker. They haven't taken one in the first round since Carl Lawson back in the 80s. But if they take a player like, or not Carl Lawson, excuse me, Carl Banks.
Yeah.
But if they go ahead and they take a Nakobe Dean there, that's great for them. But for the Lions, if he ends up falling, that's the only top 30 visit he had. And top 30 visit is, a thing for the media to kind of make up. It's not a real thing in the NFL, but the media makes it up, and it's a big deal because they kind of prioritize to bring this guy in. They're only allowed to bring 30 guys in, so they bring him in, and they prioritize, and that's the only one he took. So the rumor was that 32, 34, they're really prioritizing to make him the guy. Well, could he fall to 46? It's very possible. So I'd be curious to see what happens there. I think Jaquan Brisker's very interesting if he ends up falling, or even a Jalen Petrie. I think Petrie would be great for kind of down in the box. You would let Tracy Walker kind of roam free back there. But, I'm all in on Dean. I would love a Malik Willis if he's there. If he falls to you and you take him, I'm not gonna be upset about it because, like we mentioned earlier, there's a conversation of him being 2. So the fact that you got him at 46 is incredible. Or even if you move up. I'm not opposed to moving up a couple spots. Maybe trading with Seattle or trading with India.
What's that cost? Because that's going to be everybody's think tank. What would that cost just in terms of the capital? Because we saw teams move up like the Patriots. They fell back 8 spots in round 1, and all it took was a 3rd and a 4th rounder. So as we go, obviously that price drops.
Right.
That seems to be about the market. What's that cost realistically? If say the Lions wanted to get back to 35, what would that cost them?
Probably 97. I mean, but I mean, the common theme or the common conversation that's been had across the league is that the 5th and 6th round talent is just not there this year. So you should not be surprised if your team moves. Let's say, for example, the Lions pick 181 in the 6th round and turn it into a 5th rounder next year. It wouldn't be surprising if they took 46, 181 and moved up to, let's say, a 35 or a 36 or something like that. Is that enough to get it done? Maybe, maybe not. But a team might just be interested, especially if, let's say, at 33, 34, et cetera, some of those players that we're talking about start going and their board changes and they just want to move back a little bit to reassess their day 2 value on guys. And if the Lions have a specific guy like a Malik Willis and a Kobe Dean in mind, they might go ahead and just make that move up.
You know what I love? That this is comfortable. Right. I'm not sitting here freaking out. Like, honestly, like,
well, yeah, because like your GM, it's not like giving a machine gun to a baby.
And this is that's exactly where I was going with that point. Like, I don't know what Brad Holmes is going to do, but you know what? I'm comfortable with it. If he trades up, I'm assuming he's going to go get his guy. If he trades down, I'm assuming there wasn't enough value there.
Through all this movement and everything, that's what it comes back to, Stick, for me. And that was we laughed and Spencer with the Malik Willis stuff, and we joked about it and all that stuff. And the Aidan Hutchinson stuff, for me, all the heat that I took about that, because I God forbid I like Thibodeau more. I said through it all, exactly what you said. I'm cool. Whatever he says, I'm cool with.
Yep.
1 draft, 3 starters. That ish never happened before around here.
Well, and another thing that's never happened before around here, because Russell, you were on with Scott Bischoff when the trade happened. Name the last time the Lions packaged a trade to trade up that high in the draft to go get their guy. Name it. In the history of the Detroit Lions, when have they ever packaged later round picks to trade up to get their guy? I don't remember it.
The names aren't great from the history that I remember. Yeah,
Kerryon Johnson.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And I think I said that last night. Like, we don't have our GM utilizing day 2 draft capital, where the meat and potatoes is of the draft. That's where you find the value.
That's where the biggest steals are.
Yeah,
the biggest discount.
Right, and he's not taking those picks to move up on that same day to draft the running back or something like that. Obviously, it remains to be seen tonight. But overall, the history has shown with him and his draft picks, he's taking good players that fit what they're trying to do. It's honestly, you say comfortable. For me, it's weird.
Right.
It feels weird that we're drafting good football players.
That's it. And I'm uncomfortable with it because I don't know how to act about it.
We're not familiar with it.
Yeah.
It has
and
never happened.
YT Sparty says that trade was amazing. Yeah, and that's why I'm having a hard time processing it, because it does seem like it was some witchcraft that he pulled off. Lewis M says we're all simping for Brad Holmes. I am. I'm a simp.
Yeah, but also
until he proves me wrong. like I'm gonna keep giving the guy the benefit. It's not a simp thing.
No.
Last year the guy knocked out of the park.
I'm full on. I'm a simp for him.
No. You're an intelligent human being because you learn from previous encounters. Last year we saw this is a smart guy. We saw it in L.A. He's a smart guy. He knows how to draft. And so we could finally sit back and be like, oh, my God, I may not agree with that decision, but Brad Holmes is smarter than me. And I've never been able to say that about a GM here in Detroit. Like Matt Millen, it was like, oh, man, they got Mike Willis. Like, what are you doing, you idiot?
There's an adjustment process for all of us here, I believe, and we all handle it differently.
Right.
For me, it's skepticism. It's too good to be true.
Yeah, I just have that abused syndrome to where I'm just so used to getting hit by upper management that when someone's doing it, it's like, wait a minute. I don't have to flinch with every pick. I don't have to defend every pick.
And see, and my defense mechanism is, well, obviously something bad's about to happen.
Yeah, there is the lion-esque part to that,
yeah,
right?
Something bad is destined to happen.
We talked about that because I was on later in the draft show, and it was like, oh, my God, what if Minnesota slides in at 32 and takes Malik Willis? Like, wouldn't that have been the ultimate punch to the crotch?
Yeah.
And, that's where my mind was, because that's the most Lions thing to do. Not only did we trade up, but we traded away Malik Willis at 32 to go get it, and now the guy's in the division is going to punk us the rest of his career. Like, that was my biggest fear last night, and I think that's the PTSD of being a Lions fan. Is just, wait, this is a good thing, but wait, it's almost too good.
Right.
Dion Willis on our YouTube chat thread says we fleeced Minnesota. DMAP Zoom, crazy how we only gave up a third and got a stud at wide receiver. My mind is blown. And, there is a lot of that in there. But what about this one here? And Russell, I'll go to you on this one. Compare Holmes' free agent acquisitions to Holmes draft picks, do I give him the same grade? And I do. I do, because there are no long-term commitments. There are no high-dollar deals. The 90-ish million in cap space in 2024 has not been compromised in any way, shape, or form. You brought up the thing where you don't necessarily have to do the quarterback draft thing.
Right.
You can assess your situation, and as we talked about on the draft show yesterday, you can be Ted DiBiase and say everybody has a price, and then drop the ha. Like, you can do all those types of things, though.
Well, and also, while the Goff contract isn't perfect by any means, because it's $30 million a year, it is a flexible contract,
right?
As we mentioned,
it's escapable.
It's
got a parachute.
Exactly. You can get out of that, and you can clear up $30 million.
And you know, Goff isn't going to command that for his next contract too. Like, you have all the bartering power going to the table with him. If you're like, hey man, we want to keep you here in Detroit. We think we have a spot for you here in Detroit, but this $30 million a year just can't cut it.
Right.
And and then point to Tom Brady. Look, Tom Brady took a pay cut. You ain't effing Tom Brady, so take your damn pay cut and let's get this team continue to roll, because we know we can put a solid foundation around you that will make you a serviceable, good quarterback. You won't have to do it all on your own. We just want you to be a game manager. That's it.
That's it.
And that's what he's going to do. And you mentioned, free agency to the draft. You're right. I mean, and we talk about Jacksonville, right? They take Trayvon Walker, could be a big boom or bust pick. But look at their free agency this past year. I could have walked by Trent Baalke's office and I would have got $30 million guaranteed. I mean, he was giving money to guys left and right, and I know a lot about these guys. I didn't even know who he was signing. And it was like, was he getting these guys out of like the English Premier League or something? Like, wrong sport, buddy. Like, I don't know what you're doing. But, the fact that he's given 1 year prove-it deals to players like Chark, and the players that he's signing, there is no long-term commitment, and it's good and it's smart. People don't agree with it, but those are the ones that you're trying to build a foundation and a structure and a championship-winning team, but you need that bridge to get over the water. And that's the thing. Like, he's got that bridge going in place to get to where he needs to be on the next step, and that's what they're doing here.
Chrome says this, and there's a lot of different discussions on this. I believe it was Pistons Fan 11. You guys are talking like you have to give Goff $40 million a year.
Right. That's not going to happen.
Chrome says Goff will take a team-friendly deal if they keep him. But see, those are the first seeds of it. People are starting to come to grips with that may be a play. And I'm not calling for it. I'm not saying it's going to happen that way. I'm concerned. That's it. Now, if you build the rest of the team well enough, Goff has proven he can.
I was going to say, can we play the Matthew Stafford game with Goff? If he had this, and this, he'd be a winner. Well, yeah, that's the same with every quarterback in the league. Oh, if he had a number one defense, he'd be a winner. Yeah, most quarterbacks. Oh, if he had a great running game. Yeah, most quarterbacks. And guess what? We're a top 10 running team now. Yep. I don't know if that snuck by you guys this season, but holy hell, we've never been a top. Like, getting a 100-yard rusher was pulling teeth for us, but we got that in our bag now going forward, and that's not going to change because our offensive line is amazing.
We are going to talk Hutchinson when we come back.
Who? The number 2 pick?
Remember that? Those were good days, weren't they?
Oh man!
Oh, that happens. Remember that happened like years ago. Remember that when that happened?
That was like 8:20, man. Come on, man.
We moved on since then. Just to give you guys a little taste, the round 2 names, even with the Lions picking at where they're picking, 14th pick here in the second round tonight. Andrew Booth had a first-round grade, the cornerback. He's still out there. Nakobe Dean, as we talked about, obviously Malik Willis as well. Kenneth Walker is out there in the mix as well. But as you flip through some of these names, and you Jaquan Brisker, guys that, people, David Ajabo, as we said. Christian Harris. I'm a big Christian Harris guy. George Pickens out there. Now, I would imagine the Lions, that's not on the Lions' radar now. Boye Mafe. I mean, there's a lot of stakes left on the grill, man.
Dude, I'm telling you, if they got Boye Mafe somehow at 46, and I know doubling down on edge doesn't sound ideal, but teams do it. I mean, you look at the Bills last year. Greg Russo in the first round, Boogie Basham in the second round. They back-to-back offensive tackles after that with Spencer Brown and Tommy Doyle. You can go out here and you get Boye Mafe, an explosive edge rusher with the potential of Aidan Hutchinson. It would be phenomenal.
Leo Chanel, Scott Bischoff's guy out there lurking as well. It's all out there. There's still a good you're pretty much guaranteed a good player still.
Oh, yeah.
Even
with a run on quarterbacks.
You are. You're pretty much guaranteed a good player. Just like you're guaranteed if you go with mybookie.com, you're guaranteed to get a good sign-up deal. There is no question about that. Sign up today. Use a promo code Woodward. They'll match your first deposit up to 50%. NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs. Maybe someday the NHL playoffs will start. No, just kidding. It starts next week. Baseball in the mix. The NFL draft. You want to get down on the draft? Go ahead, do it. mybookie.com. Again, sign up for an account. Use a promo code Woodward. They will match up to 50% of your initial deposit. Have a problem with gambling? Or a problem with losing, I guess you could say. Call the Michigan Gambling Helpline, 1-800-270-7117.
It took exploring 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but we believe Gypsy Vodka is the smoothest vodka on the market. Don't believe us? Ask the owners.
We're Mike and Adam Kazanowski with High Five Spirits Distillery. We're in close to about 1,200 locations throughout Michigan. We wanted to create a brand that was geared more towards freedom, love, adventure, and at the end of the day, we really wanted to tell a story that inspired other people to take risk, follow their dreams, whatever that might be.
The official sticker partner of Woodward Sports. When it comes to stickers and signage, think Sticker Genius. We support this local Detroit business, and we are excited to show you our latest project, the Planet Fitness Studio from Sticker Genius. If you need custom stickers, wall graphics, window graphics, and plenty more, reach out to our friends at Sticker Genius. We at Woodward Sports couldn't be any happier with the service they provided us. They were quick, easy to deal with, and super professional. Head to stickergenius.com today.
We all know Cade should have been Rookie of the Year, but you know the saying, Detroit versus everybody.
Uh-oh, Cunningham all by himself.
Woodward Sports.
Back at it here, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neal Rule, Stick in the building. Wing snob in the house. Absolutely. Hey, it takes a snob to know a snob. I've been told.
I'm hungry, man. I'm hungry.
Wingsnob.com, everybody.
Hungry for more draft.
We got Russ Brown here in the house. We're letting Russ cook here today. NFL draft reaction to a very active first round. And a little bit later on, we'll talk about the rest of the draft. There are some other teams in the NFL. I was impressed with what some of the other teams did. We will discuss that. Oh, by the way, they had the number 2 overall pick, too, and they took Aidan Hutchinson. Let's discuss here on our YouTube chat thread. Remember to jump in. Twitter handles on the screen. However you guys want to get involved, get involved. We'll get your thoughts out there. You guys are the engine of this whole thing. And it's, for me, and look, we had this discussion. I was a Kayvon Thibodeau guy over Aidan. They took Aidan Hutchinson. I'm fine with it. I'm cool with it. Here's the deal. We gave Michigan fans, at least me, the Michigan fans, have your victory lap yesterday, have your victory lap today. I'll even give you through the weekend. But the bottom line is this with me, and this isn't coming from a position of hate or anything like that. This is the stone-cold reality of the situation. You were the number 2 pick in the draft. You're making $10 million a year now, about the same money that Joey Bosa's making. You are in the NFL. Now I'm Chris Brown. You got to show me something. I mean, but that's where it is now.
Yeah.
Like, you are in the NFL now. Now it's go time.
100%. I mean, like, you don't need 20 sacks out of the guy. It would be awesome if he does. But if he gets us 12 to 14, 10 to 14 consistently over time, and he's consistently disruptive against the run, and he's knocking offensive tackles out of the way and doing what he did against Ohio State in that game and other games throughout the year.
But not what he did against Georgia.
Not what he did. Yeah, we don't want to see that. But if he can do those types of things relatively consistent, it's a great pick. And it's also how luck. I mean, I don't want to say Brad Holmes is picking great. He's doing a great job. But luck has kind of been on our side in back-to-back drafts. Penei Sewell falls to them at 7 last year. Aidan Hutchinson, my top player in the draft. A lot of people had him going 1. He falls at 2. I mean, how can you not be excited about it?
Yeah, that was one of the things that they were saying. If Aidan Hutchinson's available, don't walk. Run to the podium.
And they did.
And they did. And they did. And you know what? I was having a conversation with somebody at the Brass Rail last night, and they were saying that was kind of the only misstep that he thought Brad Holmes had last night, was that we didn't marinate on that pick enough. Now that Aidan Hutchinson's available, wait a couple minutes. Maybe you may get a phone call. Maybe something may happen, but apparently this was their guy, right? This was the guy that they had targeted, and as soon as they were able to put the pick in, they put it in. They didn't wait. They ran to the podium, and we got our guy. It's the number one guy in the draft, arguably this entire year. And then you get the combine stuff. Then you get the Wonderlic stuff. And then you get, coaches and scouts picking these guys apart. But at the end of the day, what you do on the football field is what matters most. And what that guy did on the football field this year was special. He comes from a lineage of special football players. Like, he has that backing, and he's a Dan Campbell guy. You see him out there with the face paint on. That's going to be a signature for him, hopefully, here. Him and Panay Sewell will go back and forth with the face paint. But just, they're going to come out like Demolition back in the day, man.
Axe and smash.
That's the way I see this happening. Just face paint. They're going to come out with spikes coming out of their shoulder pads. This team is going to be so fun. And don't forget, we're on effing Hard Knocks this year, too.
Yeah.
So
I forgot about that.
all of this. We have to watch all of this behind the scenes.
Yeah. That's lit.
Oh, God.
And this draft's going to be here in 2 years.
Yes.
Let's go, man. It's time.
Could you imagine, obviously, doing great things this year, even better things next year in 2023, and then we get to the 2024 draft, maybe we're competing for a playoff spot. You talk about tonight is obviously not that franchise-altering draft. In a sense, it is, because you got some really good foundational pieces offensively and defensively yesterday. But 2024 could be the one that completely takes it over the top and gets them to the next step. But Aidan Hutchinson could very well be the reason behind it all, especially defensively, because we've been saying it for feels like quite a few years now. We need an edge rusher. We need a guy that can get after the quarterback. It's been the biggest problem for 5-6 years here. We don't have a guy.
Kenny Pelch in our YouTube chat thread, and I want to make this the poll, Spencer. So let's roll out with this one. Kenny Pelch says, "Are we more confident in Hutchinson or Williams?" And that's a great question I hadn't thought about. So who ends up with the better career?
Well,
Williamson?
I'm more confident in Hutchinson just based off health. Best ability is availability, right?
Williamson or Hutchinson? Who ends up with the better career?
Man, that's a tough one. I'm struggling with that one. I could see.
The fact that you're struggling with it is an amazing thing. No, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Aidan Hutchinson's supposed to be a Gold Jacket member, right? And and we're able to have this conversation. That's a great thing.
But I think partially it's because we traded up, and you kind of have the fear of the last image of Jameson Williams, the knee popping. I don't want him to be bad, right? I don't want that to come back and bite us. I want him to be a 90 reception guy, 1,000-yard guy, consistently year in and year out, and take this offense from the bottom echelon of the NFL to the top echelon of the NFL. And that's what I want to see. I trust Aidan Hutchinson can do it. So part of me wants to be Jameson Williams, because we need that.
Right.
Man, I can't even keep up, man. I get something I want to read, and then boom, it's gone. You guys are on it today, and everybody's fired up, and you should be, man, because this is hope springs eternal, man, and that's where we are right now. The NFL draft, Lions added 2 big time players, arguably the best players at their position, and that's the other part of it, right? Going back, and we are talking Aidan Hutchinson right now, but I don't have a lot to say about Aidan Hutchinson.
Pick. It was the right pick. It was the guy. It was the number one.
It was a guy that they wanted.
It was a guy that they wanted.
If I'm going to be that way, I got to be consistent and say, hey, if that's who Brad Holmes runs up to the podium for, then I'm here for it, man, and okay.
And once again, it goes back to that trust factor. One of the questions that we had when we were on the draft show yesterday is if we knew that the Lions were going into this draft with number 1 and number 12 on the board, how different would the narrative have been? And would you have changed who you wanted them to target at number 12 and at number 2, honestly? Because them springing that number 12 pick on us, that's crazy. It's crazy that we were able to achieve that yesterday. And if we would have sat here for months like we did with mock drafts at 2 and 32, where would you guys have been if we knew that we had that 12 going in?
And Russ, I'll ping this question over to you. When I saw the Lions logo pop on the screen, and I saw the look on Spencer's face, and thought it was Malik, and the whole and look, for everybody that's laughing at Malik Willis, the whole brass rail
was chanting
his name.
Yep.
Hundreds of people were chanting his name. So it's not like this big clown thing that, you know.
Did you see Malik Willis's tweet last night?
When they showed his grandmother and said it was his mom?
No, I didn't. No,
I saw that tweet.
It just said, "What happened to Malik?" ? And some laughing faces, because he knows. Like the people are going to say, "Oh my God, he should have been a first-round pick. What happened?
Yeah.
What's going on? Why'd he fall?" It's just like things happen, man, and he's taking it in stride, and I love that about him.
He has. But Spencer led the charge. Hundreds of people chanting his name at the brass rail, and it popped in my head. I want Spencer. I want nice things for Spencer. But the first thing that I thought about, and this will actually make some of you guys laugh, the longtime listeners of the show, Kyle Hamilton popped in my head.
Yep.
Right away.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys will laugh, and stop typing. Because if there was one guy I didn't want to see at 2, it was Kyle Hamilton because of the money situation. We discussed that last night. But Kyle Hamilton at 12 for half the price, now you're speaking my language. Mm-hmm. Now I'm on board with it. Now I'm ready to roll with it. Did that cross your mind at all?
I think I might have said it on the stream last night. I said, are they moving up for, obviously Malik, but then I think I might have hinted, is it Kyle Hamilton? Are they moving up for Kyle Hamilton?
I think you did say that. And a lot of people were commenting that in the chat as well.
Yeah, and I think that would have been a name that we would have talked about at 12 if we would have initially had that pick. I think the players we would have said were Malik, Jordan Davis, Kyle Hamilton, and one of the receivers. I don't think there would have been any other player in there. Maybe Devin Lloyd, but I don't think we would have said that. I think knowing if one of those players those 4 players were on the board, you're probably taking one of those 4 over Devin Lloyd or an offensive line, anything else on the board.
Right.
So, yeah, I would have been okay with Kyle Hamilton. I'll be honest. It would have been rich because, you could have got that safety at 32. We saw Lewis Seen go. We might get Jaquan Brisker tonight at 46. But, yeah, it would have been okay because Kyle Hamilton goes to a great spot with the Baltimore Ravens. And he's probably going to be a gold jacket guy because he's just going to be so consistent there.
That first round was so Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
You and I talked about that throughout the course of the night.
Perfect for them.
It was so on brand.
You're right. Like just how the Jags are going to jag, the Ravens are going to Ravens.
Yep.
So that's literally what we said. They got their guy. Like he's a perfect fit for the Ravens scheme.
The only other thing that was more on brand last night was Spencer with 2 Boombas of draft. That was the only other thing last
Spencer,
night in
how
the world.
much beer can you drink in a night?
I don't think there is a limit to the amount of beer I can drink.
For real.
I've put down a 30 rack in a day before. I've put down, we did Sunday at Augusta where me and all my boys, we'd grab a 30 rack of Busch Light and put it down. And I honestly think I can drink an infinite amount of beer. I haven't found my limit.
Have you ever gotten blackout?
Never off beer, no.
Okay.
Who's the dude from Beer Fest? That's Spencer. The guy that's in there just chugging the whole thing.
We're not that drunk.
Like if you got pushed in the drum of beer, you couldn't swim, you just give up and drink your way out.
Landslide or something like that.
Landfill.
Landfill. Oh yeah, I can do that for sure. I'm telling you.
Oh man, it was. You were on brand, and I'm here for it, man. I love you out at the events, bro. Real talk.
To go always.
You are. You are ready to rock. I have to admit, I didn't make it into Planet Fitness this morning. We had a long evening yesterday, so I owe one on the weekend. And you know what? That's all right because there's over 2,000 Planet Fitnesses around the nation. I'm a black card. Fitness. Can I do fitnesses? I made that up.
Fitness. If it's plural, right?
Yeah, but I think fitnesses works better from a marketing perspective.
Do you?
Do me? Okay, cool. There's over 2,000 Planet Fitnesses worldwide. I'm a Black Card member myself, so I can go to any one of those. And if you want access to your home club, that's on the table as well. As a matter of fact, $0 down and just $10 a month. That will get you in the door. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. You're going to drive home today. You'll probably cut out of work early because you're hype about the draft, and that's cool. Pull on in the parking lot at one of those Planet Fitnesses you pass. You can join in club. If you're really motivated, go to planetfitness.com. If you just heard Spencer's story and you want to go to planetfitness.com right now, go ahead and do that as well. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
6 dark corners, a driveway and a patio, 5 windows that could become doors. Every house has unique security challenges. Guardian Alarm has more tech, more team, and more ways to help keep them all safe. Get a professionally designed and installed security and smart home system from Guardian Alarm. Sign up today and get a free video device. Guardian Alarm. Smart right from the start. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device. Back at it here, Neal Rule for Chili Peppers Tanning. Look, you can join the Pepper Club. Get all the best deals. They'll beat all the competition prices by at least $5. It's Chili Peppers Tanning. They have the hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, the darkest tans. There's 26 locations and more on the way. Which one's closest to you? That's easy. ChiliPeppersTanning.com. Pulling up on the second hour of the show, Big D Energy. Neal Rule Stick in for D-Mac. We got Russ Brown in the house as well, one of our resident draft experts that we have. He's a national scout for Cover One. Follow him on Twitter at Russ NFL Draft. Do yourself a favor and do that. All right? Do that. If you want to be in the know,
do it.
Yeah. There is no negotiation
Smash
here.
that follow button.
I recommend that you do it.
Do it.
I recommend it.
Do it.
But we are talking NFL draft. And look, we'd be remiss if from the final, and it's not the final Lions angle, but maybe one of the most under-discussed angles of this, because I'll admit it, it's the first thing that popped inside my head right before the Vikings made that selection at 32. Scene will always be associated now. If he picks off Jared Goff to win the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always going to be linked. So, you know, as you reconstruct it, Russ, I'll go to you. Now, I know the consensus is that the Lions kind of fleeced the Vikings as far as the trade goes, but the players' names are out there. They have them now. Mm-hmm. So as you look at it, I don't want to say level of concern. That's cheesy. That's radio stuff. Just your general thoughts. The package that the Vikings got versus a package, and this has to include the players because it's part of it, versus a package that the Lions got. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, obviously, I like what the Lions got. I love what the Lions got, right? To get what they got with Williams, and then obviously to get 46, to stay in the second round, like that would have been a huge bummer if they did not have a pick today. That would have been the old regime, the old general managers that we've been talking about that got fleeced by the NFL.
Right.
They did not. But I will say on my drive in today, I was like, in my head, I was like, man, Lewis Cine is physical across the middle of the field. If you have not watched his hit on Kyle Pitts when they played Florida a few years back, watch that hit. It's on YouTube. Check that out. But like in my head, I was like, man, what if Jameson Williams is running a post route and just gets leveled by Lewis Cine and this guy becomes a stud? I don't want to ruin our party here today.
Right.
But like,
but what if Williams smokes him too? I mean, you got to look at the other side of the coin,
right? But Stick, again, like we talked about the PTSD angle and how we all handle it differently.
Right.
That's immediately where my mind goes to.
But that's every team too.
Sure, no doubt. And I was thinking about Spencer. I'm like, what if they took Malik Willis and in 2 years he beats the Lions to win the division?
Goes and wins wins the division, goes and wins a conference championship.
But again, that's the PTSD for me. That's how I deal with it. It immediately goes to the negative. But and look, that story is yet to be written because Minnesota hasn't had that 34th pick that they will get here today. But Stick, I think that's fair to say those two players that Minnesota takes, we will always keep an eye on here.
Yeah, and Ryan Armani had a great tweet last night, and it says, the way the draft has fallen, if the Lions stayed at 32 and 34, they could have attacked every level of the defense and had Hutchinson, a defensive end at 2, 32, Nakobe Dean or Lewis Cine, and then 34, Nakobe Dean or Lewis Cine. So you got your defensive end, your linebacker, and your safety. Would you rather that, or are you totally good with Hutchinson, your defensive end, and Williams as your wide receiver? And I thought that was a good way to put this because that is the context, essentially, of the trade. Like, the later round picks are what they are, but this is the meat of the trade. So are you comfortable? Would you rather have Nakobe Dean and Lewis Cine on this team starting this year, or are you comfortable with that number 12 pick with Williams? And when I'm looking at it, the Dean and Cine combination looks pretty damn nice on paper, but the Williams opportunity, like we discussed, and him plugging him into that offense now and how it kind of just completes the offense, and now you can just focus solely on the defense. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at it. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it, right? Because time will tell, and hopefully Dean and Cine don't whoop our ass for years to come.
Well, and for me, Russ, and clue me in on this, because I get a bad feeling from Nakobe Dean. And everybody that kind of clowns Malik Willis nationally, locally, all of it, I think some of the same principles are applying to Nakobe Dean here. There's something. There's something that people don't like, because if they'd have did the draft right after the national championship game, Nakobe Dean's going early.
Yes.
Early in the first round.
Yep.
What has changed? I know there's meniscus concerns and things
Slow.
like that.
They said he was slow.
And he's slow and he's small. Like, I understand all that. But there's just some kind of, I don't know, I just don't like the smell of it for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's really happening behind the scenes other than what you're kind of talking about there. I mean, the knee is a bit of a concern with the meniscus. Running a sub 4.7 is not ideal. That's what people project that he's going to run it. And I mean, at 6 foot, maybe 225, 230 that's not ideal for a player his size. You would expect maybe a sub 4.6 or right around that range, and you could probably live with that. But beyond that, like, maybe he's just not interviewing well, which I would find surprising because off the field, the dude's a high character guy.
Right.
Did a lot of stuff down there in Georgia for the community, raising hundreds of thousands of dollars for charities. Hasn't had a B+ since his 8th grade year of middle school. And then beyond that, I mean, he's got a mechanical engineering degree. The Georgia staff said he was the fastest player in their team's history to learn their playbook. Like, he's a good dude, so I don't understand it.
And at the middle linebacker position, you need that, right?
Yeah.
You need instincts are more than speed. I mean, we had fast guys here with Boss Bailey. Teddy Lehman was a fast guy coming out of college, Butkus Award winner, but they couldn't think the game, you know. And if you miss those angles, it doesn't matter how fast you are.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, too, like we're talking about Dean and Scene. Jameson Williams had 7 catches for 184 yards and 2 touchdowns in the SEC championship game. And obviously, hurt his knee and missed a good portion of the national championship game. We saw it on display.
Yeah.
Cooked him.
Yeah.
Absolutely cooked him.
Yeah, and I think this is the thing, to kind of Ryan's question, from last night. Lewis Cine wasn't really on the radar of NFL teams until we got into really draft season. The consensus guys all year at the top of their position are the guys that the Lions got.
Right.
Not Lewis Cine, not Nakobe Dean. Like, Nakobe Dean's top for me, but a lot of people had Devin Lloyd. Some people had his teammate Quay Walker, and the NFL had his teammate Quay Walker ahead of him. So, like, maybe I'm just different. I view football from a different lens compared to you and everybody else. So maybe that's the thing where we got the top guys at our spots year round. It didn't matter. So, like, that's why I'm okay with what we got compared to getting Hutchinson, Cine, and Dean. Like, it sounds great, but I think what we got sounds even better.
Well, Stick, and that's my school of thought. If I'm going to get somebody, I want the best one at that spot. That's how I roll, when we talk about drafts and analyze drafts and stuff like that. That's how I do fantasy football drafts. If I can get the best guy at something, I'll do it. I'm the guy that usually starts with the defense and starts with the kickers because I want the best one. After you get to a certain level, they're all kind of interchangeable. And I feel some of that applies to real-life football and drafting and things like that. If you are able to get who you deem to be the 2 best players at a position, then you had a hell of a draft. And that again, the ping-pong ball that is me with this whole situation where I keep going back and forth on it, I come back to that. They got their 2 best guys at 2 positions in the first round.
You're hedging your bets at this point. That's exactly what they did. The further you move down in the draft, the less likely percentage-wise that those guys are going to hit and become, really good pros. So what do? You move up into the top 12 where it's kind of a coin flip, right? Maybe even 60-40 that those guys are going to turn out to be really solid pros. So what you did is you took your 30% chance at 30 and you move that to your 60% chance at 12, and you're just increasing your odds of hitting a home run.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about that move, is it just gives us a better look at who we can be moving forward. And like you said, we got the top 2 guys. We got the top wide receiver, arguably, had he not gotten hurt. Yes, we have to mention that. You can't ignore that. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been available at 12. So that's why we got him. And then we got the top defensive end, arguably, except the Jacksonville Jaguars don't seem to think so. But we got the top defensive end, and you can't go wrong with that. Because when you're picking at 32, 34, you're picking from like 3rd, 4th in their position ranking. So you're going with the best. And what's wrong with that? We're just not used to that here.
Again,
we're not.
It's weird. It's really weird feeling.
We're used to hand-me-downs. We're like the little brother. Like, well, thanks for trying to mess that up, and we got the good guy now, and then it doesn't work out.
Here's your Boss Bailey jersey.
Yeah.
Go ahead and put that on.
Champ will be here soon. No, we don't want Boss. We want Champ.
On our YouTube chat poll, who would you rather have? Dean and Scene, 18% of the vote, and Jameson Williams, 81% of the vote. So I think the Lions fans have spoken with that. And
that's a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. Honestly,
wow, that's like blown out of the water. Like,
yeah.
Well, there's a little tax you have. There's a little hopium tax that you have to pay, and he's your guy. And look, guys, too. Let's be real. 32 picks. There's 32 teams, even teams that didn't make a pick, that are saying everything worked the way we wanted. All 32 teams are thinking that, right? Or else they wouldn't have done it.
I saw so many people praising the Lions yesterday on Twitter, and like national pundits and stuff that normally they don't have a damn thing to say about Detroit. But yesterday was Detroit won this draft. My God, look who they got. Like, they did it, and I love that.
Well, and this plays in well to this. Bob's big boy, who was giving me heat about the Malik Willis thing. Bob, you're my guy, obviously. I wasn't calling for it. I'm not Spencer. I wasn't pounding the table for it.
Malik Willis at 2.
Yeah, I wasn't standing on top of the furniture yesterday at the brass rail demanding it. Yeah, topless. Because
did you see the one guy in the
deny
chat?
Deny any of those.
I did. It's all true.
Did you see the one guy in the chat that when Spencer was talking about drinking beer, they're like, that was the guy that had his shirt off yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you for coming back and watching, even though you had to watch the Dancing Bear shirtless.
But Bob's big boy makes a great point here. The Lions must have some guys on their board they really like for tonight to make the trade to number 12.
Yeah.
And here's really the interesting part of this question, Russ. Any chance the Georgia defensive players were overvalued and all benefited from playing with each other?
100% they were. I mean, and that's the thing. Like that. How many Georgia defenders were taken last night?
5.
5? That was it, huh? I mean, the conversation was that we were going to see like 7 or 8, and we only saw 5. So I think when you value what you see from them, you see Jordan Davis eating a bunch of space, but there's Nakobe Dean filling it because he doesn't have to worry about taking on blocks or getting trapped or getting reached or anything like that. Like, everything's being done for him, and they benefited each other so much. So that's a great point. And I mean, yeah, I guess I didn't really think of it until just now.
Yeah. And that's kind of what people were using Ajabo and Hutchinson, too. Like, oh, the only reason Ajabo got sacks was because they were double-teaming Hutchinson. Oh, the only reason Hutchinson was available because they were double-teaming Ajabo. And it's tough. I hate holding talented teams against people, right? Because you talk about Malik Willis. Oh, he went to Liberty. He didn't play against anybody. Okay, we're talking about the Georgia guys now. It's like, well, they played with everybody. Well, which is it? Do you want to play with good people, or do you want to be the standout on a crappy team? And either way, you're getting judged.
Right. And Malik was at Auburn, and the numbers game squeezed, and that was the way that it went. I mean, these guys are all in the same stratosphere, man. Like, they are. Mm-hmm. When you get to the quarterback spot, that's a little unique because the number game has to play out for you. So, I mean, they're all in the same circles, I guess you could say, as far as recruiting and stuff goes. Somebody earlier in the YouTube chat thread said, Neal, Planet Fitness wouldn't let you in because you had gypsy coming out of your pores. Could be the case. It certainly could be. We talked about Spencer. I was on the gypsy last night. If you were watching, I was out there in full force. And look, summertime is here eventually, quickly, I hope. There's no better way to enjoy a Michigan summer day than with gypsy vodka. And guys, I can confirm, I will sit out on that deck all summer long. I'll pour the gypsy in the glass with the ice cube, squeeze a lime, and the club soda, and we are rocking and rolling it any night of the week. And I am there for it. Best tasting, smoothest vodka on the market, locally made in Petoskey. That's right, it's Gypsy Vodka. Support a Michigan product, and as always, drink responsibly.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
What's going on, everybody? It's Spencer for the Foaling Warehouse in Hamtramck. And you know, it's the home of the original football bowling pin game called Foaling, where you want to have a good time. No-brainer to have a good time. Kind of a no-brainer like taking Malik Willis at 46, maybe that. There are multiple things you can do there. You can host your corporate party, team building event, or just have a good time. 2 different ways you could play. $10 unlimited open play, stay there all day, have a good time, or private lane reservation, $120 up to 10 people. You know they got the $2 mystery beer vending machine. You put in $2, pops out a good beer, no hassle, no fuss, just great beer. They also have multiple fully loaded bars for you to choose from. So go down in Hamtramck, check them out in person, or go online at foalingwarehouse.com. Again, that is foalingwarehouse.com.
Can we talk about what just happened?
Absolutely, here on Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neal Rule stick in for D-Mac, and we have our guy Russell Brown here in studio, Spencer Raxter, and of course Sam Flannel.
So we do these live reads for our advertisers, which, by the way, make sure you support all these local great advertisers. They've been there for us, and they're good people here. They support us. We actually deal with them locally, talk to the owners, and so Spencer, before we do these live reads, like, he'll count us down because we need to know when we're coming back from commercial. Neal Rule, it's like, all right, Planet Fitness coming up in 5, 4. But Spencer does the live read for Foley Warehouse, and he's still counting us down like we give a damn when he's going to start. Like, you're the only one watching the clock over there, dude. You got to know when you start.
Hey, maybe I'm counting myself down, man. I just need a little
He's like, Foley Warehouse
realization.
coming up in 5, 4. Hey, it's Spencer. Just great, man.
Counting himself down, dude. I love it. NFL draft first round in the Bucks. And I did want to take a spin around the NFL real quick. You know, we'll jump back into the Lions stuff. There is no doubt. But, Stick, you know, anything that kind of stood out to you yesterday across the league? What'd you think? What were your impressions?
A lot of trades after the top 10 pick. You know, a lot of people moving, a lot of moving parts. The one trade that stood out for me was the one actually right before us at 11. The Saints taking Olave at wide receiver. To me, says a lot about where the Saints think they're at quarterback-wise, because that's where I thought they were going to go, but they must be comfortable with Jameson Winston chucking that ball, and they wanted to give him more weapons. And
and look, I've said this I'm always comfortable with Jameson Winston at quarterback for somebody else's team.
Oh, yeah. If I'm
I love it.
Yeah.
I love 470 yards and 3 touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, 6 interceptions. I love the Jameson Winston experience.
Yeah. Well, they have him, and now they gave him another weapon. So I thought that was interesting. They traded up to 11 to pick a wide receiver, and some people are asking in the chat, is that why the Lions wanted to trade up to number 12? Because Olave was their guy. It was off the board, and if they needed a wide receiver, they had to act at 12. So
right.
That kind of dictated how the rest of the day went, I thought.
And it did, Russ, that was a springboard, right, for everything that went down?
100%. I mean, the Eagles traded up after we did. They got Jordan Davis. They get rid of a pick to get A.J. Brown, like, incredible stuff there. And, I mean, you look at the Eagles, they get kind of a proven guy at the wide receiver position, but also they see the run of receivers, the top 4, the consensus top 4 guys right in front of them. So they go out and get a proven guy in the NFL. They pay him his money. They have a big athletic freak as an interior defensive lineman that probably in most drafts would have gone top 10. For whatever reason, he didn't, maybe because of the offensive tackles and things like that. So the trades, I mean, it was out of hand. Like, I couldn't even keep up on the live stream.
I gave up.
I was like, okay, another team, you know, the Commanders move back and they take Jahan Dotson, and they just settle for basically probably the best receiver on their board at that point. And then the Titans to get Treylon Burks. I mean, how can you not be excited about that fit of what he's going to do in that offense? He's going to play as an H-back, a running back, as a slot receiver, orbit and jet motions in and out of the backfield. Like, it's going to be fun with Derrick Henry back there.
Yeah, I thought the Titans did a great job yesterday. I mean, they got rid of their high-priced wide receiver, and they were able to get another guy on a rookie contract who, to me, I thought he was arguably the best wide receiver in the draft. And if we're talking fantasy football, dynasty fantasy, Treylon Burks is my number 1 wide receiver off that
You
board.
and I, that's your and I's Wolf of Wall Street there. That we're gonna make you choke on that Steve Madden.
Yeah.
Treylon Burks is our Steve Madden.
No, I will take Treylon Burks and shove it down your throat till you buy him in your dynasty draft. Because I'm telling you, like in my league, we get him for 5 years if we draft him as a rookie. And in that offense, you know, to me, he's the best looking wide receiver prospect right now as far as he's going to get you yardage right out the gate.
Yeah, I was big on it. I talked about it during the show. I talked about it yesterday. Really that entire time where Treylon Burks certainly was my guy. Nationally, it was weird because look, everybody here loves what the Lions did. I would say, and there's some New York skew to this. What I noticed from the national stuff that I watched, that I read, that I paid attention to, you saw the Jets and the Giants kind of get the majority of the love, and then the Lions, I think, got the bronze nationally, from the national perspective. But the Giants, a team that, is butted up against the salary cap, that when you look at their situation with what they have on the roster, the running back spot, certainly what are they going to do at the running back spot? Because they have to move them. They have to.
Yep.
I mean, what else are they going to do? You got to move them or extend them, right? I mean, that's where it is. But they were very solid in that they can probably make the claim, we got two of the best guys, the two number one guys at their position. It's weird how both teams might have done that.
Yeah, I mean, they got two guys that were top 5 on my board personally, and the key is they got a Kayvon Thibodeau that one is going to be engaged within that team because he goes where he wanted to go all along.
Right.
And he wants to be in New York. New York wants him. It's a perfect marriage if it all comes full circle for him. Like, if it all works out, he could easily be, I always say if he hits his ceiling, he's Myles Garrett. Like, he could be that type of player. Maybe I'm wrong. That's a little rich. Pro comparisons really aren't my thing. But if he can get to where he needs to be, that's a player I see comparable. And then Evan Neal, every year at Alabama, he played a new position every year, and he dominated. Right guard, right tackle, left tackle. You can play him anywhere, and it gives you that flexibility with Andrew Thomas, who might be a liability on the left side.
Yeah, and I want to talk about Atlanta a little bit, too. Atlanta taking Drake London where they took him. I mean, that was pretty high for Drake London. Braylon predicted that he would be the first wide receiver off the board. And that kind of lets you know about the Calvin Ridley saga. It's over.
Oh, yeah.
It's over.
OVA.
So he may wind up, who knows where Calvin Ridley's going to go out of this, but them taking Drake London is pretty much the writing on the wall. Now they just have Marcus Mariota throwing him the ball, which is kind of an issue.
Yeah, and then obviously going back to what the Jets did, they plucked 3 plug-and-play starters.
Yep.
3. I mean, that's a pretty impressive move by the Jets. And this was where, when these trades started happening, the Jets kind of were just there. They had already made their picks, and then obviously they jumped up into the fray a little bit later on. But they were in a situation where, for me, as I looked at the Jets, they had the most intriguing scenario rolling in that you had 4 of the first, 38 picks or whatever it was. Yeah. I think they came off about as well as you can, getting 3, I think, blue-chip starters.
No question. I mean, to get up there and get your guy in Sauce Gardner, I know a lot of people, I think, maybe even Spencer was saying it last night to me, like, Saleh takes guys in the 4th and 5th round and, like, develops those late-round corners into solid players. But now he gets a premier player at the position to play a primary spot in his defense as a boundary corner, fluid athlete, great length, is going to run in the hip pocket of receivers all day long. Like, he's going to be a stud there. You get Garrett Wilson, who a lot of people said he could be the first receiver off the board. So we get that Wilson-to-Wilson connection, and how Jermaine Johnson falls to 26 blows my mind. But the fact that
people were mocking him to us at 2.
Right. That was the flavor. That was the flavor of the week, as far as everybody in the YouTube chat thread and everything like that. If you weren't Kayvon or Hutchinson, there was a growing sentiment about Johnson.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. But I have just as much faith in the Jets management as I do in the Lions' former management. So the Jets, I'm going to take everything that the New York teams did with a grain of salt, because none of those guys have proven that they know what the hell they're doing.
That's true.
What about the Texans, I think, were aside from Jacksonville, and I know they traded back, and I know that they got a 4th and 2 5ths by moving back, but just the Stingley thing with Kenyon Green, I look at, if I'm a Houston Texans fan, I look at what the Lions did, maybe 2 of the best at their position. I look at what the Jets did. They make the case that they got 2 of the best at their position. And if I'm a Texans fan, I'm going, what do we get? We got a guard, And look, people like Stingley a lot more 2 years ago, I think, than they did now. But that's where I give Scott Bischoff a lot of credit, because he was on that, the Stingley to the Texans right away. I was surprised, and I know you guys talked about it, but I was still surprised to see it happen.
Yeah, I mean, over the weekend before the draft, I had heard Sauce Gardner quite a bit, and then at the same time, it was like, but don't be surprised if Stingley is that guy. And then they end up obviously taking him. And if he hits what he's supposed to be, he could be the best player in the whole draft. I mean, to be completely honest, like, he's that good of a player. But he's missed 13 games in 2 years, lower body element injuries. tend to reoccur for a player, especially with their feet, especially with that type of skill, always kind of on the balls of your feet, playing like that cornerback position. But it might work out because it's a great scheme fit. Lovie Smith, a cornerback with ball skills. I mean, that's like a perfect marriage. And then to get Kenyon Green, it's not a sexy pick by any means. It's guard. But it's a plug-and-play guard, a guy that they need up front. He's got great length, 35 starts in his career, can play left tackle. Like, it's not a sexy pick, but it's a good pick.
And let's face it, the Texans could have drafted anybody at anywhere, and it would help them. Yeah. Like, there was no position they had set where it's like, we don't need help there.
It did remind me of the Ragnow pick a little bit in that I remember being at a draft party and back when I was working at a different station, and they took Ragnow, and everybody, there was no cheers, but there were no boos.
Yeah.
Everybody was just like...
Linemen aren't sexy, man. Like, that's
especially guards.
Interior linemen,
yeah, especially
right?
the guards.
Yeah, guards and centers, nobody gives a damn about.
Why don't the guards get more love? Because they are vital. When you have a good one, you're set.
I'm with you. I don't get it. Like Tyler Linderbaum going to the Ravens, he's going to be a plug-and-play guy, and he's going to go 12 years in that place, and he's going to be a stud. I don't know why interior offensive linemen don't get a lot of love. I think it's because you find a lot of value on the second and third day of the draft. You don't have to spend the premier draft capital to get them, that high-end pick. You don't have to pay them a bunch of money. You can get them cheap for 3-4 years. So I think it comes down to that. But also when you re-sign them, if he's not a top-tier guy, a Brandon Sheriff or a Zach Martin-type player, you don't have to pay them $15 million a year. You can just pay them $3 or $4, $5, $6 million, and they're there consistently every day for you. But Kenyon Green could be one of those top-tier guys.
Let's go. Show the big men some love.
Yeah, absolutely. Bob's Big Boy. Trust the Holmes process. Guarantee we get good value and good players at 46 and 97. This is where our staff working the Senior Bowl and all that extra has big benefits. And we're going to talk about that, the second round coming up when we come back. Now we're going to shift. That the celebrations are over. Those guys are here. So let's move on. We're going to pick Russ's brain. There are a ton of players that are available. There is no question about that. Real quick, before we go to the break, explain something to me. New England Patriots, the Cole Strange thing. And I'll do this for Stick. The Patriots got some strange, man.
Hey, how about that? That was a strange pick. The Patriots fell into what the Lions used to fall in. We're smarter than everybody in the room.
Mm-hmm.
And that gets you in a lot of trouble. But the thing the Patriots have going for them is they're usually smarter than everybody in the room. So, I can't really fault them for that. Like, once again, their track record is enough. But first-round draft picks for them have been kind of a flop over the past, 4 or 5 years.
They've been sketch, as my son would say.
Look at N'Keal Harry.
Give me the why on that one, Russ.
I mean, honestly, I think they went to the Senior Bowl. They saw this kind of underrated, no-name, out-of-nowhere type kid, held his own, which he did. But there's some concerns with his overall anchor, lack of length for the position. But he was stout against these dominant interior defensive linemen that were down there, like Travis Jones, who will get some love probably on the next segment. Guys like Perion Winfrey and those types of interior defensive linemen. So the fact that, with Cole Strange, you could probably plug and play him because Ted Karras is gone. He's in Cincinnati now. That was their former center. So, I guess it makes sense, but I think they reached a hell of a lot higher than people were ever expecting. And like to your point, smartest person in the room isn't always the smartest person in the room.
Yep.
But that franchise lost Tom Brady and went to the playoffs.
That's true.
I mean,
and replaced him like this. Look at how long we've
with
been
another pick that we all mocked. I mean, we talk about Patriots with first-round picks. They did go get Mac Jones. Don't act like you don't know the name.
Yeah, Mac Jones. Mac Jones.
Neal Rule here for the Sports Marketing Agency. They help spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse disorder. Their new podcast, This is the F Word. It's a series on fentanyl. It helps spread awareness about the problem in our community that is fentanyl and other addictions as well. If you, or maybe more importantly, somebody you know is struggling, go to thesportsma.com. Again, that's thesportsma.com, the sports marketing agency looking to help.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
Putting on a show here, and that's how you answer. We love our sports. We just wish they'd love us back. Detroit sports for Detroit sports fans. Woodward Sports. Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
I didn't know that was true either.
Back at it, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Neal Rule, we got Stick in for D-Mac. We got Russ
Factually
Brown here
correct.
as well. We got Sam Flannel. We got Spencer Raxter. We are here on a Friday getting ready for round number 2 of the NFL Draft.
But wait, everybody watching right now, did you know that Woodward Avenue was the first paved road in America?
That's why we were laughing about it, because Spencer said it about 2 seconds after I said it. Until I saw that commercial for Woodward, I never knew that Woodward Avenue was the first paved road in America.
Yeah, see, I write all our imaging and stuff like that and get it produced and whatnot. So, yeah, that's a major fact. That's why it's M1. Number 1, the first ever. And, you know, Detroit was the first ever city to have functioning stoplights as well. Yeah, like if you go to Ferndale, they have like this little tower out there with a statue standing in there. That's how they used to direct traffic, but we came up with the stoplight here as well. We know a little bit about cars.
Yeah.
You know, and it makes sense. This is where the car was pretty much invented. So, of course, we'd have the first paved road.
I've learned so much today.
America, baby!
I learned that just now. Dead guys are getting things pulled out of them and putting it people
Athletes.
that are alive. It's crazy. But we're going to talk some draft here.
Stick with me, Russell Brown. I'll teach you some things.
Teach you a thing or two about a thing or two, my friend.
I know a lot about a little.
So here we are, round 2. I gave you the names earlier. I'll spin through them again real quick just to wet your whistle a little bit. Andrew Booth had a first-round grade. He is still available. These are, again, just some of the highlights. Nakobe Dean, obviously Malik Willis is out there as well. Kenneth Walker for the Michigan State fans. Logan Hall is in the mix as well. Sky Moore for you Western Michigan fans. I know there's a couple in the YouTube chat thread. Desmond Ridder, another quarterback product. Jaquan Brisker, that's a Big Ten name that a lot of people know. David Ajabo still there. Christian Harris, I'm Team Christian Harris at the linebacker spot. George Pickens for the receiver crowd. Boye Mafe, the edge from Minnesota, that got a lot of discussion but is still out there. So these are just some of the names that are out and about. And, you know, Matt Corral certainly is out there as well. Cam Taylor-Britt for the Big Ten fans. And Leo Chanel, Scott Bischoff's guy that he talked about, kind of that dark horse linebacker spot. So we did it yesterday. Let's set it in stone, man. Where are we going here, Stick?
Well, a position that we haven't even brought up in the first round or just all the names you mentioned, running back. I mean, Kenneth Walker's name's got to be discussed at some point today. You got Breece Hall. I think he's another guy that'll probably be your first running back off the board. Isaiah Spiller, that's another running back. Those are the top 3 in this draft that I believe are going to go. And looking at the draft order, Tampa Bay, they could take a running back, but, you know, they took one 2 years ago in Vaughn, I believe, and he really hasn't panned out, so maybe they take a stab at a running back. Vikings, they don't need a running back. Jets, no, they took Michael Carter last year. Giants, they got injury-prone Saquon, but Houston may take a running back. So I'm really interested to see where Kenneth Walker winds up today. I think he is definitely a round 2 draft pick. He's proven that. You know, obviously a Heisman, should have been Heisman candidate, Final Four, but he wasn't. Either way, he's got to go today, and it's, to me, that's my interest in today, besides what the Lions are doing with their pick, where Kenneth Walker is going to land. And could the Lions take Kenneth Walker?
Russ, the floor is yours.
I don't think that they will, personally. I mean, I could see the Giants pulling the trigger on a Kenneth Walker or something like that, and then moving Saquon Barkley at some point to, you know, clear some space, do your thing. That makes a lot of sense. The Texans, I think, are a no-brainer for a running back. They need something offensively there for Davis Mills. The Jets...
They need a quarterback for Davis Mills. That's what they need.
They buy into him, though, don't they?
He's good.
Yeah, the Texans
honestly,
buy
that
into
was
him.
a sneaky pick last year.
And I clowned it. I remember when they remember that early season game where Houston was on national TV? And I was sitting here, and somebody asked me in the chat, you gonna watch? Because I make it a thing. I don't watch your crappy Thursday night football games, NFL. I don't do it. And I said, oh, you want me to watch Davis Mills at quarterback? No, I'll pass, and I'll watch UNC Florida State or whoever it is. I watch college on Thursday, man. That's how I operate. But they're comfortable with him.
They are. And, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. They got the offensive lineman there early, you know, in the middle of the first round yesterday, the running back. Kenneth Walker would make a lot of sense. Breece Hall would make some sense there. I'm curious with the Seahawks, 40 and 41. They did a lot of research on Desmond Ridder. Could they be the team that takes the first quarterback here at 40 or 41. And with Chris Carson and the neck concern, I know Rashad Penny came on late for them last year, but do they look at a Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall type guy?
Yeah.
And honestly, like, I know we mentioned Isaiah Spiller. I like Isaiah Spiller a lot, but I would be kind of upset if they took him at 46. Because we're not, like, the running back thing, like, we have two good ones. That's a luxury pick, and we're not at that luxury spot yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you're passing on potentially Andrew Booth if he's there, Nakobe Dean, Jaquan Brisker. I like Cam Taylor-Britt a lot. Like, he would be a guy that I'd be okay with that 46. Might be rich for some, but the dude is smart, instinctive in zone coverage. When I talked to him down at the Senior Bowl, he told me Chris Olave gave him nightmares, and he was like, I have to watch his feet all the time. He's like, I think I held my own, and if you watch him against Michigan, first play of the game, he lights somebody up on the sideline. Like, I could see him being a sneaky pick at 46.
And our YouTube chat thread here on Mark M is on board with me. He and I are locked at the hip here. Christian Harris for the Lions with number 46 at round 2. That's where I am as well. And look, the bottom line for me is this. When's the last time the Lions had a good linebacker? For real.
Hopefully Derek
Chris
Barnes.
Spielman.
Chris Spielman.
No, like, for real, man.
Ernie Sims. Like,
Ernie Sims is okay. I mean, he wasn't transcendent.
He
by
was
any
Lions
stretch.
good.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Good for the Lions.
He was Lions good.
We
But
mentioned
see,
Boss Bailey, Teddy Lehman.
Stephen Tulloch, maybe?
Tulloch.
Like, listen to these names. Listen to yourself right now. Listen to
DeAndre
you.
Levy. Can we agree DeAndre Levy?
Okay, that's fair.
Okay,
For
that's
a
fair.
flash in the pan.
Before he started getting on airplanes and stuff.
Yeah,
and-
before he hated football by playing in Detroit and quit on us.
Yeah.
But honestly, he had the skill set to be an elite linebacker, so that's the last good linebacker I can point to.
Yeah.
Is that a fairly important position in the defense?
It is. But I will say this. Scott and I talked about this. We don't really think the Lions value the position. Like, they brought back Alex Anzalone. And if you look at their roster right now, Sean Dion Hamilton, Alex Anzalone, Derek Barnes. I'm missing a name in there.
There are like a lot of 4-2-5.
Jared Davis.
Yeah, Jared Davis.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Oh, yeah,
Spencer.
they brought him back.
And so, like, they have 4 linebackers. They're probably going to run a lot of 4-2-5 type
Yeah.
defense and bring in that extra safety. And that's why I'm like, Petrie, Jaquan Brisker, you need a guy that can move down there, cover the tight end, get the running backs, maybe get a slot receiver or something as you exchange your zone coverage and stuff like that in certain spots in the drop. So, like, I'm okay with that. And, like, they did a lot of research on these two names. Brian Asamoah out of Oklahoma, similar size as far as, like, a Christian Harris, a 6 foot, 225, 228-pound linebacker that can kind of run like the wind. He ran a sub 4.6. But Devin Harper from Oklahoma State might be a UDFA guy or a late 6th or 7th round pick, but he's got a 41-inch vertical, moves pretty well for his size, kind of is living in the shadows of his teammate Malcolm Rodriguez down there at OK State. So, like, I think those are the two guys that maybe late on the third day of the draft that they look at. But, I mean, I'm not opposed to Christian Harris. I'm not opposed to Chad Muma. Obviously, everybody knows where I am with Nakobe Dean. Like, that's my guy. So, I mean, we'll see.
And the names are flying in right now. Rack. Don't forget about the tackling machine Jordan Dizon.
Ooh. Oh, my God.
Kyle Van Noy.
Randy Savage says, don't forget about Jelani Tavai. Those were great days. Remember that bit?
Smarter than the room pick.
I was so mad when I did that.
Everybody, no one. I don't know if people were mad or just like, what the hell is going on?
I didn't know who
you
he
remember
was.
ESPN is like,
They just put like a graphic that they made 3 minutes before.
Yeah.
we don't have this guy going till round 6.
We don't even have footage on this guy.
What is this guy?
I know a lot about the draft, but I had no idea who that guy was.
Nobody did. Nobody did. And that goes back to we're smarter than the room. We're going to surprise everybody and steal somebody. Like, you didn't steal them.
Right.
Nobody thought you were great by doing that. We looked like idiots.
Yeah.
And then he proved to make us look like idiots. Like, he doubled down.
He's on the Patriots now, isn't he? He's
Sure.
there.
I mean, if Patricia's there, yeah.
I think
of
he
course.
is on the Patriots.
Yeah, he
Buddy
is.
ball.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah, that was an easy statement to
Patricia,
make.
the
Of course.
offensive genius now. Don't forget that. Jesus.
What would shock you? What would shock you to see the Lions
Matt
do?
Patricia losing 50 pounds? Oh.
Honestly, it would surprise me with 2 positions, running back or receiver. I would be a little surprised if they doubled down at receiver, and I would just be stunned if they did the running back. Those are luxuries, and this team is just not built to have that luxury. They have, as we mentioned, a hole at linebacker. They need another safety. They could utilize another corner despite the depth there. And I mean, I guess maybe like another offensive tackle. I would be a little surprised with that if they took an offensive tackle like a Bernard Raymond out of Central Michigan. Like they were very heavy at the Central Michigan Pro Day. They were looking at Luke Godeke, who could maybe be a guard. I like him a lot as a right tackle. I like him better than Bernard Raymond. And when I was talking to Frank Haley down at the Senior Bowl, the offensive line coach, we were talking about some of the offensive linemen. I was like, do you think we're going to draft one? He's like, well, I mean, it's a long ways away. I would be surprised. I think we're pretty happy with what we have, but maybe we take a stab at a guy in like the 5th round. So I would be surprised there with an offensive lineman.
Mark Guy. Come on, guys. How did you forget Zach Follett? Those were good days.
Man.
Wow. Wasn't he the guy that was like working out with like trees and stuff like
Yeah.
that? He had like
That's right.
He had like the Jesus workout or something.
He was cutting trees down or like pulling trees out of the roots or
The
whatever.
Rocky IV training method.
Yeah, eating bark and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
What a weirdo that guy was.
Listen to us right now. Listen to us. They take the guy who works out by cutting down trees.
Yep.
They take the guy who even ESPN has no footage of. Jordan Dizon, just a straight bust. I love to reminisce, man. I do.
You forget about those guys.
You do forget about
You blissfully forget about those guys. So someone brings them up and then it just raises your heart pressure. Like, what were we thinking?
And then I circle back and tell you guys why I have a lot of PTSD, why I always think that the worst possible thing is going to happen.
And then you go look at those drafts and like, oh, and who could have we have taken? Who was right behind them? And it's always like, oh, we could have had Tom Brady. Oh, we could have had Ray Lewis. It's like, oh, Jesus, we just botched everything.
I know. And it really, it's where I got to go to something that I know and something that I trust. Like when I go get a haircut, Stick.
Yeah, Lady Jane's wicked awesome. Today I elected not to do my hair, but when I do, they make me look right, especially our girl Alyssa, who you see right behind the big chair all the time. And if you're looking for a wicked awesome haircut, walk in anytime. They are open and they will give you that King's treatment. And right now you got your chance to win $100,000, 6 figures extra in your bank account. All you got to do, show up at Lady Jane's, ask them how. They got local Lady Jane's all over Metro Detroit, so there's one near you. It's wicked awesome.
He's going deep, right side. Oh, that is Edwards out there. He goes up in the air at the goal line.
Hey, it's Brandon Edwards here, wanting to welcome the sports marketing agency to Woodward Sports Network, to the family. Glad to have you guys. For the last decade, the sports marketing agency has literally leveraged athletes around issues such as mental health and substance abuse.
Glad that we can finally start trying to get the stigma off of mental health that's been there for all these years.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Listen, we don't have a lot of downtime in the studio, so changing over all the wallpaper in here and redoing it when we got Planet Fitness as a sponsor, it was like, man, how are we going to do this? Well, Planet Fitness made it real simple. They were in and out in less than 24 hours, redid our entire studio, and it looks great. So if you're thinking about redoing your office, a kid's bedroom, wrap it. It's easier than wallpaper, and it looks better, and they can do so many cool things with the graphics. Check them out, stickergenius.com, or you can scan that QR code that's on the screen right now. They do stickers and so much more. Stickergenius.com.
Coming down the stretch, Big D Energy, Woodward Sports Network. Our guy, Russell Brown, here in the building with us. My name is Neal Rule. Stick filling in for D-Mac. He'll be back at it on Monday with us. We have Sam Flannel in there. Where are we at, Sam? Day number...
The big 5-0. 50.
Today, day number 50.
Today is number 50.
So for those of you that don't know, if you're just joining the show, Sam Flannel has committed to wearing a flannel for 365 consecutive days. Work days. Think about that. So more than a calendar year. He rocks a flannel every single day. He gave us a taste of summertime yesterday here in studio and at the brass rail. He had the sleeveless flannel on.
Dude, that was impressive. I mean, this guy brings the pipes.
He does. Spencer Raxter here in the building as well. A lot of talk in the YouTube chat, though. Remember, you can tap in. Our social media handles are on the screen, too. However you guys want to get involved, feel free to do so. But a lot of you have asked, and look, I know that emotions are running high. The Michigan fandom and everybody is strong and locked in with Aidan Hutchinson. David Ojabo is a polarizing figure, I think, in the draft. Some of the Lions fans here are calling for David Ojabo now. Do you have any insight, Russ, as far as how he's being viewed? The Achilles is different than the ACL.
Yeah.
It's different. It's viewed different. The recovery time is different. All of it. How's he being viewed?
Well, I mean, he also had the ankle during the COVID year as well. He had an ankle injury. I think he only played 4 games that year. Obviously, the Achilles now. So he's had a lot to overcome. Probably 2 or 3 days before the draft, I had heard that the Packers were really doing some research on him, that there was maybe a chance that they would take him in the first round because they don't believe he'll be there around, pick 52, 58 in that range. The team that I think makes the most sense for him is at 45 to the Baltimore Ravens. Mike McDonald is the defensive coordinator there now. He had that year with Ojabo. We saw how successful Ojabo was this past year. To play under him, you bring him in, you get a guy that's comfortable with your defense, knows it, can take his time getting in there. And I mean, we already know the 2 guys that they got in the first round with Baltimore, they're going to be studs for them. They can risk taking a guy at 45 to kind of ease his way into the NFL, and then not this year, but next year, be an absolute stud for them.
Dave Schultz says Tahir Whitehead, by the way.
Oh yeah. Ooh, spicy meatball.
What do you think about David Ojabo, Stick?
I don't want to go overboard on it. That's what my fear. Like we got the guy, right? And do we need the guy that was next to the guy? I don't know if we need the guy that was next to the guy. I think there's other areas of concern to look at. We addressed the defensive line. Obviously, Ojabo is kind of a hybrid defensive line linebacker type player. Once again, with Brad Holmes, if he takes him, I'm not going to be like, oh, what the hell's Brad doing? I'm going to be like, man, Brad knows something I don't know. And that's why, like, I don't hate anybody you throw out to me right now. Hey, what if they took a running back? Well, I trust Brad Holmes. Hey, what if they took a quarterback? Well, I'm assuming Brad Holmes did his research and knows what the hell he's getting into. So I wouldn't mind Ojabo. Obviously, you saw those 2 play off each other well, and I'd like to kind of see that transition for the Lions and put those 2 on the field at the same time again, because they already know timing. They already know how to communicate non-verbally on a field, which is something that goes a long way once you get to that NFL level. But I wouldn't be mad. I honestly wouldn't be mad. I just don't think he's my target in this round.
And when you look at it, and I'm just perusing through everything, The Athletic has him mocked number 50 to the Chiefs, who obviously took George Karlaftis. So they are, and I was curious about that, taking the 2 edges. Now, granted, the Lions have a lot of money invested in the edge position, obviously with what they've done through free agency, keeping their own guys and those types of things. But, as far as that goes, certainly would be viewed as kind of a luxury project pick. But with Hutchinson, though, and the whole Charles Harris thing with that 2-year deal, I think in a weird way it does offer them some flexibility to maybe go that direction, where they might be able to do something like that because the short-term contracts, again, which why a lot of people were critical of Brad Holmes and what he's done in free agency. I love what he's done because he has the ultimate flexibility.
He does, and that's why I'm not opposed to the idea, because I think Ojabo would have been a top 20, top 25 player yesterday had he had not had the Achilles. There's no question about it. He would have went in that top 25, and he probably would have been a pretty good football player for a team. Now, obviously, the question marks are there, but if you can get him healthy for the next 5 to 7 years, that's a pretty good second-round pick. And if it pairs up with Hutchinson and it allows Hutchinson to really hit his ceiling as a player, and Ojabo just maybe is at his floor as a player, either way, you got 3 guys in Williams, Hutchinson, and Ojabo that make a lot of sense. And they start for you pretty much, not maybe this year, but 2023, as we mentioned, as that year to really take it to the next step. But you mentioned the Chiefs, and I think that's a really interesting fit for him. And I'm curious, if Baltimore passes on Ojabo at 45, if he's there, the Lions are sitting there at 46. The Chiefs had 12 picks going into yesterday. They're down to 10 picks. They're not going to use all these picks. Would you be okay with moving back to 50?
Yes.
And then,
yes.
I shouldn't have even asked you, because we already know we already know where you're thinking.
Yeah.
But, you get more draft capital, and then they go up and get Ojabo, who makes sense because Frank Clark isn't going to be there long term. They were trying to get rid of him this year.
Right.
But that's a perfect place for him with Karlaftis, Ojabo, especially 2023, competing in that AFC West. Like, that makes a lot of sense for the Chiefs. It would make sense for the Lions, but the Chiefs, that's kind of a home run.
Are we all in agreement that they should go defense, though, in the second round today?
Well, you got to get a linebacker at some point, right? I know that they're kind of...
Or a cornerback, or a defensive lineman,
you know
or an
what?
interior line. Like, we need help at every level.
And you mentioned corner, and I was thinking about this during the break. Like, there's one player we haven't talked about, Kyler Gordon, the cornerback out of Washington.
Yep.
He was in the green room yesterday. He's going back home or whatever he's doing. But Pac-12 ties, West Coast, Brad Holmes, 4 of the 7 picks last year were Pac-12 guys. Kyler Gordon, if he's there, he could maybe play a little safety, a little nickel for you, gives you that versatility and flexibility to your defensive back room.
Ironically enough, The Athletic has him mocked to the Vikings at 34.
There you go.
So that'll be your tie-in, Stick.
There you go. It all comes full circle, baby. Andrew
Gordon.
Booth is out there too. That's a guy.
Yeah.
You don't seem to be that facial expression does not lead me to believe that you enjoy Andrew Booth's playing
it's
style.
funny, man. Like, Andrew Booth, when I looked at like a lot of consensus boards back in like February, he was like a top 5 player for people, and I'm like, I don't know what film you're watching. Please show me the top 5 player, because I saw a guy very hesitant in and out of his breaks. He was kind of tripping on his own feet. His tackling technique was very inconsistent. He would leave his feet as he's tackling, and now all of a sudden there's like this quad injury, there's just lower body injuries left and right. He doesn't test at all during the pro day and combine. That tells me he's slow, and that's bad juju for me, because that takes me back to Tease Tabor in the second round, who I was like,
oh God,
I'm like, okay, we got this press man corner. It's fine that he only ran like a 4.65, but little did I think, press man corner that can't recover with no long speed.
You know what we need to do? We need to do a where are they now for all these guys? Like a little
Well,
behind
well,
the
they all
scenes.
in the same out of football.
Yeah, but I want to know what they're doing. Are they at a car dealership, or because that's what happens to these guys. We're like, where are they now?
State Farm Insurance.
Selling insurance. That's probably the
real estate,
overriding
a lot of them
one.
go into real estate.
Yeah, you just because you show up at the house with your Florida SEC championship ring, you're selling real estate in Gainesville, and they just buy the house.
Living in a van down by the river like Daniel Norris.
There you go.
Paul Novak says Alan Aldrich. Don't forget Double A. Neal in Washington Township says Chris Claiborne. How about that one? That one is a good one too. Mike G wants to know, would Spencer cream his wheats if they took K9?
I mean, I would be happy. I would be happy for sure. I would cream my wheats if we took Malik Willis. That's for sure. But I mean, no, I think we're gonna go defense, and I want us to go defense. But,
yeah, I want to see a linebacker, man. I want a good linebacker.
Yeah. Me too.
Like with the face mask, that's not the big wide plastic face mask from the 90s, because that's the last time that they had like a good linebacker.
Yeah.
Like I want him in like the modern helmet with the two holes
the
up here.
Speed Revo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
that'd be nice.
Is that a lot to ask? I don't think it
it's
is.
too much to ask.
I'm going to look into Kobe Dean's helmet.
Yeah, all right. Let me know. Well, while you do that, I'm going to tell you about Syntron, because it's a summer of Syntron, and right now it's available at your local Kroger stores. You can get some next time you're out grocery shopping. Give it a spin, guys. They're running a special right now. You get 2 of them for $4. If you're walking through the aisle, they're saying, hey, Neal talks about Syntron a lot. Woodward talks about Syntron a lot. Let me give it a spin. Support the companies that support Woodward Sports. It's a new energy drink for the active lifestyle. They're proud partners with the Detroit Red Wings, Detroit City FC, and, of course, the Detroit Pistons as well, and also here at Woodward Sports. Drink it. Live it with Syntron.
Hi, I'm Kay Cunningham. I'm proud to partner with Hall Financial, the mortgage company known for 5-star service. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their 5,000 5-star reviews for yourself. Go to callhallfirst.com and get started with your 5-star experience today.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports. We all know Cade should have been Rookie of the Year, but you know the saying, Detroit versus everybody.
Uh-oh, Cunningham all by himself.
Woodward Sports.
Neal Rule here for Wing Snob, and I was told it takes a snob to know a snob. So magically, here I am. Fresh, juicy, hormone-free chicken. Wing Snob, the best traditional wings in the game. Try the signature sauces, the Jamaican jerk, the lemon pepper. But let's be real, the wings are tossed to perfection in any sauce you choose. When the wings are this good, you're allowed to be a snob. Late lunch, go to wingsnob.com. Wing Snob, we just have better wings.
Pretty simple.
simple, right?
We don't have to overanalyze it.
No, that's the thing. When it's right there in front of you, like an Aidan Hutchinson, you take it. When it's
Your
right
lunch
there in front
draft board should be BWA, best wing available.
of you, and that is Wingstop.
That's Wingstop,
100%
man.
of the time out of 100.
Wingstop. I know. Look, I know Russ has him high on his board. You know that there is no doubt
It's
about
the hormone
that.
free that puts them over the top, and then that Jamaican jerk. Oof. We got to go to Jamaica.
Right?
I can't wait for this network to get to a point where they're like taking us to resorts just to, hey, we're at Sandals, Jamaica right now, just talking about the Lions. Don't know why we're here, but come on down.
Yep.
That'd be unreal.
Oh, when I used to work at radio, they'd send us on stupid remotes all the time that had nothing to do with radio, but we just had to show off Sandals
VisitFlorida.com.
Oh, Visit Florida, man. They pimp out Florida like constantly.
Yeah.
We're here
Absolutely.
at the Wild Mustang Resort in Sandy City, Florida.
Like a city name that was made up that wasn't even in existence 2 weeks ago.
Exactly.
I like it. Round 2 coming up 7 o'clock here today. Time to set it in stone for everybody, and everybody in the YouTube chat thread has been making their last remarks here as far as what they want. And Nakobe Dean seems to be tops of the wish list.
As he should be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. I was like, I looked up the helmet. It's exactly what Neal's looking for. But also, like, it made me think of like just kind of like that modern day linebacker. It takes me back to the Boss Bailey days, who oddly enough was the 34th pick back in 2003 to the Lions. So it'd be kind of cool, like if they took him and he kind of hits a little bit. I know Bailey was only here for 4 or 5 years, and it wasn't perfect. But that rookie year, he was phenomenal. So it's like if we can get a guy like that and he hits for the next 5, 6, 7 years, that'd be perfect. I'm excited to see what we do at 46. We also have 97 still tonight. I mean, I don't know what direction they go there. Maybe that is your running back spot. Maybe that is, maybe that's like a Dameon Pierce or something like that out of Florida. Maybe that's the cornerback, or I don't know. Maybe they do take a guard or something like that, just because you can never have too many offensive linemen.
Boss Bailey, man, that was one of my 3 biggest misses in the history of my Lions fandom. Number 1 was Mike Williams.
Yep.
BMW.
Mike Williams.
When he destroyed Michigan in the Rose Bowl and caught a pass for a touchdown, threw a pass for a touchdown, ran a ball in for a touchdown, I was like, this guy is the ultimate weapon, man. Like this, and I was like,
He
Spencer.
got screwed by Maurice Claret and the NCAA.
He did, and to this day, I always
like,
thought that was wrong. They should have let him back into the draft.
Because the only reason he declared it was because they let Maurice Claret.
Yeah.
So, like, he got screwed, but he also got fat and out of shape, and that's on him. Like, that had nothing to do with Maurice Claret.
Both things can be true.
Yeah.
But yeah, big Mike Williams, Aaron Gibson. I was brutally wrong. When he dunked the basketball and did the splits, I was like, this guy's almost 400 pounds, and he's a freak. And he has the biggest helmet in the history, of Lions history.
Stocker McDougal. Remember Stocker
Yeah,
McDougal?
but everyone knew that was laughable.
Yeah.
And then Boss Bailey was my other one.
Bailey was really good in Madden, though.
Was he?
You put Boss Bailey and Teddy Lehman in, you sub them in on Madden because they were both 88 speed, and at linebacker, that's all that matters.
Speaking of 88, I come to find out through some people that work for the organization, get a chance to talk to him. He also had 88-year-old knees.
True.
And it was known.
Yep. He had a knee injury in 2000, then he got hurt in 2004.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. I wonder if he's got some dead guy knees.
A lot of Boss Bailey talk today.
There was.
Random. He got brought up more than once.
That means we're taking Nakobe Dean, who's got a known meniscus problem right now.
There we go.
Brandon Katz, again, Lions are not taking a running back in the second round.
I would agree. I don't think they are. It's sexy, but I don't see them.
Did you think they were taking a wide receiver in the first round?
That's true. I've been wrong before.
We don't know.
That's
why, I hope everybody who did your multiple 10 million mock drafts to make you feel smart, and what if this trade happened? Nobody had it right. Nobody ever has it. It's like picking a perfect bracket in the NCAA. It's never going to happen. It's fun in theory to fill these out and do them.
Yeah.
But we can do this all day long, and it's never going to work. So you saying, no, they're never going to take a running back? You don't know. You don't know.
Packers move up and get George Pickens.
Oh, how pissed is Aaron Rodgers right now, by the way?
Didn't he say something like, you got to trust, I just have to trust the people that are here?
Yeah, I mean, I could see them moving up on George Pickens, but there's some off the field stuff with him, like character concerns, like he's a menace out there. Like he can block, he'll throw guys around, but he got in a fight with a Georgia Tech kid on the sidelines. He's like, I don't know, he had some really weird answers to a lot of the questions that was being asked of him, so I don't know. Some teams might be off, but maybe they move up for a Sky Moore. They've had success with a former Western Michigan Bronco and Greg Jennings, so maybe that's a direction that they go in this draft. Man, we're pulling out all the classic names today.
We are. It is a lot of fun. But anything else, guys? Last chance, man. Speak your piece for the weekend.
No, man. What? We want to talk about what we're doing this weekend?
Yeah, Sunday, ESPN Plus.
Sunday.
NCAA baseball. Myself on the play-by-play with Stick, the Oakland Golden Grizzlies in action.
Boys. Yeah, I get to do color commentary.
Commentary.
A college game, my first college baseball game.
Yeah.
Done high school, never done college.
Well, we'll be there. ESPN Plus, weather permitting. Of course, it rains like all the time. So, weather permitting, ESPN Plus on Sunday, 1 o'clock. So tap in if, in between draft picks. I guess you could do that. Russ, what else you got going on, man?
I mean, I don't know. I'm probably just going to be hanging out at the house. I got some stuff with Cover One tonight, as far as a live stream, anything that we might be doing. I don't know what we're doing as far as Woodward Sports, but I'll hop in anywhere, do any type of video reaction.
Should we do for tonight, too, another watch party just from the studio? Obviously, for the third round or third round?
I'm down.
All right. We may make that work tonight. I got nothing to do.
I mean, I'm fine with it, but at 97, if somehow, some way, my guy Kirby Joseph from Illinois is there, please. I mean, we're talking about, what did you say earlier, Spencer? Something about Wheaties? What do you, cream
my wheats.
Yeah.
Cream my wheats.
That's what I'd be doing if we got Kirby Joseph at 97. That's steal of the draft.
All right, everybody. Hey, appreciate everybody tapping in. Again, everyone that came out to the brass rail last night for the NFL draft party. Thank you all. Appreciate all your support. Stick, appreciate you stepping in, too, for DMAC.
What better day to step in? Day after draft, but not even after the draft, in the middle of the rounds of the draft. So, anytime, man. I love this.
Russ, appreciate you stepping in, too, man. Enjoy the conversation.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. 2 hours long. I love it.
Yeah,
I like that, too.
Sam Flannel, Spencer Raxer, my name's Neal Rule. Thanks, everybody, for watching Big D Energy right here on the Woodward Sports Network. Well, see you later.
Bottom line,